Hello and welcome to the Super Basement Bros Show. I'm Connor and I'm joined by Tanner and Hasten.
Hello, you guys.
So today we are doing our Avengers Endgame reactions. We just got out of the movie.
First impressions.
Half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. These are going to be our first impressions. So we're going to go over everything in the movie. But first and foremost, we're going to do a couple minutes of spoiler-free, brief overview, baseline thoughts on the movie that aren't spoiler related at all. And then as soon as we go into spoiler territory, we will let you guys know. We'll give you a big heads up because we don't want you guys to be spoiled if you haven't seen the movie. But if you're here and you want to just get brief thoughts on the movie, is it good or what, then we'll do that in the first couple minutes here. So let's go ahead and start out with Hasten. So what'd you think?
Oh, man.
I agree.
It was a great movie. I think Marvel really knocked it out of the park. I think they delivered, and yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I can't, like I said, it's going to be hard for all of us.
It's hard to talk about it because it's so fresh. Like,
Yeah.
it's like almost like we don't know.
We had to
what
process
think.
our thoughts a lot.
Because, like, after a day or so, even after seeing it like a second time, you're much more capable of being like, okay, this is how I feel. This was great. But, like, right now we're just so, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, what I think for sure we'll do is in a couple weeks we'll revisit
Probably
it
just
again
on a
and just on a
podcast.
regular podcast and talk about it a little more when we have some distance.
Yeah.
Because these are going to be very initial.
I wanted to
thoughts
mention,
and
too,
stuff.
if you haven't seen Avengers yet, watch it and then come back and see our what we actually talk about with the spoilers and everything, because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
Stuff you need
Yeah.
to process, especially the first time watching it, because, like, even me, I'm going to benefit from talking to you guys about it, because there's some stuff that it's just foggy or it's crazy, so...
Yeah, if you're here just for the brief overview impressions, then definitely come back for the spoiler stuff once you've seen it. Because there's so much in this movie. So much, like, we're not even going to get to, like, a quarter of it, I bet. There's going to be so much that we forget about because there's so many things that happen in this movie. But for me, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Guys, by the way, go check us out on social media. We have an Instagram and a Twitter. We also have...
Let's pump social media.
Pump.
Pump
So
it.
on Instagram, we're just at Super Basement Bros, and then on Twitter, we're at Super Bros Videos. Also, guys, go check out our predictions and see what we got right and what we got wrong.
Yeah.
Because
I can't even
especially
remember
once
what
we
I
get to the
predicted.
spoilers, like, I can't wait to rewatch it because I'm pretty sure... I won't say anything yet. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's some, similarities.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
So, quick, where does this rank in your Marvel movies?
That's a great question.
Okay, so
I
yeah.
actually had that on the list of something.
I was gonna say, in my opinion, this is my favorite Marvel movie yet. Because for me, I won't go too deep into it, but Infinity War I loved. Infinity War was my original top. And the only reason this one tops it is because this isn't spoilers, it's just an overview. This one's much more comedic. Much more. There's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like,
I
so
disagree.
funny.
Yeah.
I actually disagree
Because
with
Infinity
that,
War was great, but Infinity War was so much dramatic, which was awesome, and there wasn't too much comedy. There was a lot, but not as much as this, in my opinion. This one has much more comedy, and it delivers it right. Because
I'm on the other side of that. I actually see
I am
the
too.
opposite, but
Just because with Infinity War, you didn't have that any sad part
drama until the end.
I don't know.
Very
I mean, you.
I mean, there was drama.
Even in the last fight scene, I mean, there's still comedy going on. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you have Chris Pratt or Star-Lord. This is a spoiler.
Infinity War. This is
Spoiler for
Infinity
Infinity
War.
War. This is
not
good.
not Endgame.
When you have Chris Pratt going through the portal, flipping off Thanos, like that's freaking
but
hilarious.
that's what I mean. Is that's kind of just like basic like Marvel comedy. Because like for me,
Yeah, that's
Infinity War
MCU
was
kind of in general.
was very MCU comedy, which I love. MCU comedy is great, but it's much more like subtle and it's quick. It's over quickly. It's not a lot of really funny dragged out moments. Like I won't spoil anything, but there's a section.
Well, if there's ever a moment that we go, I won't spoil anything. Let's just save it for spoilers.
Okay.
Just
Because
in case.
yeah, once we start talking about spoilers, I'll explain why I think this one's more comedic. But back to Infinity War. With Infinity War, the only reason I think this one's more comedic is because Infinity War is so much on story. It's so much more focused on the story, which this one is too, but less so.
Well, real fast, before we answer the question of where it ranks, because I think for me to describe that,
That's
I need to go
Yeah.
into a little bit of spoilers. So let's go ahead and get just your brief thoughts, Tanner, and then we'll get mine, and then we'll go into spoilers.
Brief thoughts, like spoiler free. I thought it was amazing. Of course, like it's just like the postpartum kind of like, oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So like I'm still excited. Like I can't wait to see it a second time. It's one of those movies that I immediately wanted to see it once it ended again.
Yeah,
I was
me too.
like, holy frick, I want to watch it again.
Even after sitting in the theater for 2
Even
hours.
3 hours.
It didn't even. It was the quickest.
I didn't
3
have to go to the
hours.
bathroom. None of us
I
went to the
know.
bathroom.
No.
I didn't see a single person in front of us.
I don't.
In the like 6 lines. I didn't see a single person
one
stand
person
up
get up.
One
in that
person
3
leave.
hours. It was
Oh,
insane.
I'm glad you brought up the.
And by the way, we went to the first showing of the day.
Yeah. So this
we
was
went
the
to
very
6 o'clock
first
show.
possible
Very first,
showing.
yeah.
Besides the premiere, and then
Well,
like
yeah,
early
obviously.
showings.
It was
of, like,
it was
work.
the premiere essentially for where we live.
For-
Like, it was the first
for
showing.
local people who don't either work at a movie theater or like went to the
Yeah.
actual premiere. Yeah, it's the earliest you can see it. So we were lucky enough because we weren't have people coming out and spoiling it for us. So we were trying
Yeah,
not to
because
be that
that was
people.
something that I was very scared of.
I'm glad you brought up the audience though, because if you Marvel movies are something special when you go to theaters, because Star Wars movies you always get people clapping and stuff, but this was the funnest I've ever
I
experienced
think
with
it's.
audience.
I think the two Star Wars
like
and
Force
Marvel,
Awakens,
they both go this
that was
way.
intense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We went. I think we went and launched out on that one too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that one was.
That was
like when
nuts.
for Force Awakens when the
Millennium Falcon.
no when the freaking
The
when it
Star
just
Trek
starts
base.
when it just starts rolling the words down.
Oh yeah,
everyone's just
opening
freaking
crawl.
out. It's like
The
Star
opening
Wars, and then
See,
it just starts.
yeah,
rolling
I
the
agree.
words.
Well, Star Wars, I think is unbeatable in terms of the opening like credit stuff because they have as soon as the Lucasfilm logo pops up, everyone goes berserk. It happened in this theater when we saw the trailer for episode 9.
I'll say,
and then as soon as the opening crawl happens, the people go nuts.
These moments are the moments that make me so proud to be a nerd. Because, like, I see this, like, camaraderie of everyone being... Even at a Star Wars trailer, when we're at an Endgame, we're watching a Marvel movie.
Even
and
the
a
Lion
Star
King
Wars
trailer,
trailer,
everyone was going
people are
nuts.
freaking out. And, see, this movie was on par with me for Force Awakens as far as audience reaction. Because it was, like, every freaking second of the movie. There was either clapping, gasping, or whatever, right? I won't say specific reactions, but...
this did have 10 years built up into it, so
yeah,
and not surprising.
And I mean, I'll just say, like, briefly, this was an amazing way to pave the road and, like, to give people, like, honor and be like, we built up this universe, guys. Here's, like, the ultimate movie for you, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we talked about the games with ultimate treatment. This was, like, the ultimate Marvel movie. It was like if they brought everything possible.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's up? You know, Marvel.
I want to get into spoilers but real fast, my initial thought as well. Like I thought it was amazing. I loved it, and I think there is no. If you are a Marvel movie fan, this is obviously a must see. Like we can all agree on that. If you have watched the MCU movies from the beginning or even anywhere like halfway, like this is required viewing in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that's pretty obvious with everything going into it. But just in case, if you were curious, like. For sure, you have to see this movie if you're even slightly interested in the Marvel movies. But when we get into spoilers, I'm gonna have some other things to say. But let's should we go in at this point?
Hey, what's your first like besides like
Hazen kind of already did his.
Besides
I can't really say anything without spoiling.
Okay.
I don't want to
Yeah.
because like honestly, as soon as we go into spoilers, there's going to be huge spoilers.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna transition into spoilers. If you guys are all good with that.
Yep.
All initial thoughts done?
Yeah, so I'd
Go
say
see it.
as of right now, guys, it's going to be spoiler warning, obviously.
Well, but are your initial thoughts
I'm done. I mean, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do then is I want to give a good few seconds. I'm going to slowly go into...
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, we're going to transition...
So, like, we're going to give you, like, 5 seconds, but it's going to be all spoilers possible, right?
Yeah,
We'll talk
of
about
course.
every single detail. So, guys, if you want to go in completely spoiler-free or even not even know anything about the movie, just... either come back or go see it right now.
Well, as of right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be transitioning into the spoiler cast part of this podcast. So, going forward from here on out, starting now, we will be saying any sort of spoiler, anything goes. So, if you do not want anything spoiled for you in Endgame, please go away now until you see the movie and then come back and watch this. If you don't care... please still go away. Like you should care. Like don't have it spoiled.
And I will
for
say,
you
good luck trying not to get spoiled. I mean, this is one of the ones that
I'm hoping
so
everyone's
hard.
respectful.
Yeah, I
It's
hope
kinda-
people are respectful. Like,
But
the
I
Russo
mean, I've
brothers
heard
been
though
pushing that out.
It's not like there's a lot of like the big like top comments are always just big spoilers.
Yeah, people are rude. I hate
So
people
yeah,
like that.
just if you love Marvel, go see it. Like go see it.
Yeah,
Seriously.
for sure.
Go see it
So,
right now.
without further ado, we are now in the spoiler section. Starting now. Gonna give you a few seconds, and then we're gonna start out with a major
One,
spoiler. 5
2,
seconds.
3, 4, 5.
And
Okay,
welcome.
spoilers.
So what did you guys think?
Iron Man's dead.
Black Widow's
So
dead.
Black
I want
Widow's
to start
dead.
with like the opening.
Okay, Thor's fat.
Thor's fat. And
I just thought
Captain America
I need to
can
get it
wield
off my
Mjolnir.
chest. Everything.
Captain America can wield.
Yeah, Captain
hammer.
America can wield the
Oh,
Mjolnir.
Oh my god.
So,
what were you saying?
What do you guys think about how they started it? Like
Oh.
you basically start
Yeah.
with them finding Thanos and like what do they do to him?
Yeah, well, before that,
The
I want to jump into
beginning.
the very beginning
Yeah.
because one thing that was very unique about this compared to the other Marvel movies is it didn't start off with the Marvel banner right away. And like with the titles, it started out shot like first thing you saw was a shot of an arrow, and it was Clint Barton, right, Hawkeye with his family, and we got to see his family get dusted, which that was not what I was expecting at all.
What
from the
I will
start of this
say-
movie.
I seen it coming.
I
Did you?
leaned I leaned over to my girlfriend literally and I was like, what a way to start a movie. Like that
Yeah.
was awesome. Because like it's such like a thing you don't really care about Hawkeye's family before, like we haven't really seen them, but it was like they built it up within like 10 seconds. They made you care so much about these people, and it was so sad to see him like turn around, not see his family, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I think
like,
it's.
what
I
the
kind of
heck?
ruined it for myself because I looked into the Ronin part of.
Oh, did
like,
you?
With it,
Like
so
the comics
and I
and stuff?
realized Ronin basically is like an avengement. Like he's trying to get.
He
avenging,
reminded me a lot of Batman,
killing
kind
people.
of. Like,
Wait, Ronin.
So when he's in
That's his-
China,
alter ego.
when he's in
Oh, 'cause
China,
Ro-
he's Ronin.
I thought Ronin is
Ronin is
It's
a different
confusing.
guy.
There's
big,
two
the big
Hawkeye,
blue guy.
Yeah.
Hawkeye turns into Ronin,
But isn't Ronin the big blue guy in
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
there's two Ronins.
but it's different.
It's
Okay.
Hawkeye is a different Ronin.
Okay, so it's
And
his
his,
alter ego.
he basically just murders.
Right. Killing gangs and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome. This is what I was
So I
going to
knew
say.
I was like, his family's gonna die.
Which I
Well,
will
so-
say, I hate that they spoiled that in the trailer.
Yeah, me
Why
too.
did they show
I
him?
agree.
Because that would have been sick if
That
we
would've
were
been
like,
an
we
awesome
see this
reveal.
assassin ninja guy, and then it's freaking Hawkeye.
Well, and also, like, I think fans of the comics would have gone livid, like, not livid, they would have been super excited to see Ronin in Avengers. Like, that would have been such a cool reveal. I think it was dumb that they spoiled out with the merchandise and trailers. But
Yeah.
I was going to say, with his family, I agree with you. When it started, this movie, one thing I will say is it made me care about Hawkeye, actually.
For real.
Which is something...
I previously didn't care.
Yeah,
didn't
like
really,
Hawkeye,
yeah.
Hawkeye's been one of the Avengers that I'm like,
he
it's
could
just he's whatever. Like he got a cool bow and arrow.
And
but
even
that's
when they
about it.
introduced his family in Avengers 2, it was kind of just like...
Yeah, like Age of Ultron, when it shows his family, I was like, oh, that's cool. He's a family man. Like I appreciated his character a little more, but I didn't like him as a character necessarily. This one made me really like him. Like I want a Ronin spin-off Avengers
real.
movie set in Asia. Can you imagine
Oh my
him
gosh.
fighting Asian
Well,
gangsters?
and
That'd
I
be
wouldn't be
so dope.
surprised because, like,
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, like, I don't know about you guys, but I caught on pretty quickly that it was Hawkeye. Because like once Scarlett Johansson mentioned
it's in the spoiler.
well, she
It's
was
in the trailer.
talking to the holograms and they were like, I think
well, like they're saying
Don
like
Cheadle
him.
Don Cheadle
Like he.
mentions it. He's like, what are we gonna do about Ronin? And then she's like, I don't know. And she starts crying. Remember? I immediately was like, oh, it's Hawkeye. Because he's like, you should have seen the mess he made in Mexico or whatever.
Yeah, I knew about it because of
Yeah,
the trailers and merchandise.
And I was like, I can't wait because I do hope they make like a spin-off prequel where we get to see that 5 years, what he was doing, him becoming Ronin, who he slaughters, what happens.
It'd be
to
so
him.
cool to get a Disney Plus series about that.
That'd be sick.
That section was awesome. I thought it was so cool. The Asian bad guy, I forget his name, but he is in every
Asian bad guy.
Yeah, he is so cool. He's like awesome. Like the way he
And that
talks to,
sword fight, dude, was sick. Like, oh yeah, we that's one thing we've been missing is like a
well, it was
samurai.
It was like
sword fight.
gritty, violent too. It reminded me of like Daredevil.
There was actually a lot of really
graphic
intense
violence.
violence.
There was. I noticed that.
Like you have when he slits his throat and there's blood leaking.
And
out.
he's like, please help me.
I mean, and another big spoiler: Thor slices off Thanos' head in
Oh,
5 minutes
like,
into
he
the
literally
movie.
just like
Okay,
his head's
yeah.
gone and literally you see like spurts of
Like
blood.
a splurt. Yeah,
Okay, I'm glad
that
you-
was shocking. I was gonna bring that
Yeah,
up because
bring that
like,
up.
My mouth literally dropped in theater. I was like,
everybody's
me too.
dude. It like I want to bring that up because that honestly for me, I was like, that is huge. I was not expecting that whatsoever. I did not think they were gonna kill Thanos instantly. Like legit, I even was kind of mad honestly when it happened. I was like, that's how they kill Thanos.
I was
They
gonna
walk in and chop off his head. Are you serious? Like they couldn't
Yeah.
even do damage to him last movie.
The thing is, it was kind of cool because
It
you're
was.
they took off his hand. They basically destroyed him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
then
my
you
gosh,
figure-
dude! They get in there and they
all just
grab
jack
him.
him up. And then what you realize is he doesn't have any of the Infinity Gauntlets.
Yeah,
He has already destroyed them.
and the stones,
And it almost killed him.
Well, and that's why he's so weak too.
And then, so they cut off his arm, and they flip the gauntlet around, and there's nothing in the gauntlet.
And he's already been
And then,
weakened.
and then
because he
Thanos
destroyed
is
him.
like, "This is permanent now. This is permanent." And then you just see,
It's such a bad A moment.
Suddenly, all his head's just boom gone, slices it off.
He's like,
Yeah,
and
so
then he's like,
really-
I went for the head this time.
Yeah, so really, if you think about it, this is the inciting incident of this movie, which is crazy because I don't think anyone saw that coming. Because
No way.
this movie starts, and what I will say, this movie start had me very surprised. Like, not
Well, and
not
confused.
confused. I wasn't like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was super pumped for the movie. But, like, when the movie started, I was like, oh, this is the direction they're going? This is kind of slower than I thought it was going to be.
I don't know about
And,
you, but
I mean, it was fine, but, like, yeah,
My-
there's, like, this stuff with Iron Man and Nebula in space, and then they rescue him super fast, and he's back down, and Iron Man's all crazy, Tony Stark's going all crazy,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, they're like, let's go get Thanos. And I'm like, they're already going to go get Thanos? Next thing you know, we're
Yeah,
at the planet.
see, I was gonna
next thing you know,
mention-
Thanos is right there, and they
It's
slice off his
weird.
head. I'm like,
It's weird because, like, I was going to
freaking
say, is,
happening?
like, after they killed Thanos, I started having this weird feeling where I was like, oh, wow, because with the direction, like you said, they had
No,
showed,
I
like,
didn't know where the movie was going.
Yeah, me
they
too.
showed Captain America at, like, an AA, like an Alcoholics Anonymous, not really, but, like,
Yeah, it was
kind of like a
something like
meeting, and then they just showed, like,
Or like
people
a
living their
PTSD
life
thing.
Yeah.
post-apocalyptically, so I was like, is this going to be, like, a post-apocalyptic movie where they're, like, adjusting and
Or
they'll
maybe
never save
I honestly thought it was like, Thanos literally
Yeah,
won, and we
no,
killed
this
Thanos.
is,
Yeah,
this is
and
what
that's it.
happens now.
And I
He kills
literally
half
was...
the planet, and now, like, that's it.
I'm literally sitting there thinking, I'm like, who's the bad guy now? They killed Thanos because it didn't cross my mind like, oh, they're gonna go back. And
Who is the bad guy, though?
That's the thing, is like, I knew as
Thanos.
soon as...
Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that once they killed him, I
crazy.
was like, who's
Well,
the
as
bad
soon
guy?
as like, I knew they were gonna go back in time. Like, once they killed Thanos, I was like, "Where is this going?" And I'm like, "Well, of course they're gonna go back in time to get or something. They're gonna do something to get the old Avengers. They have to. That's what this has to be about." And then, but I was confused because for some reason, it didn't register with me that it's like, oh, of course, Thanos is still alive at that time. So it's like Thanos will be back. For some reason that didn't click. So I was with you where I was kind of like, what the heck is going to be the, like, worry?
And I was confused because I do know I hate that promotions spoil stuff because there was the toy that got leaked of Thanos with the double-sided blade. Mm-hmm. And so once they killed Thanos, I'm like, he didn't have the double-sided blade. When do we see all Thanos, right? And so I think I started.
Blade was sick.
Yeah,
was
that
cool.
was freaking dope. And he could like spin it and like block the shots. Anyway, after that, like to run it down, I want to go back to the Iron Man thing because that's one thing that I thought was a huge part, and I wish they would have extended a little longer because it made me be like, oh my gosh, like the superheroes aren't invincible.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of one of those moments where it's like, Iron Man is not this perfect guy, right? He looks so skinny. And
Oh my gosh.
He
Oh
looked
my-
horrible.
I don't know
He
what
looked
they
like
did.
he did on drugs.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I was like, did they have Robert Downey Jr. start taking some hardcore drugs for this role or
Yeah.
something? Because he looked awful.
Oh my gosh.
It was
Like,
crazy.
and that's one thing that wasn't in the trailer.
He
that I
looked better
liked.
than later,
Yeah,
but like
later
that
he was fine.
scene.
Oh my
he
gosh.
was
No, it
horrible.
was bad.
Well, I guess if you think about it too, he hadn't eaten
had been
for
in
like
space and
22
stuff.
days.
22
or something,
days,
is what
yeah,
they were saying.
yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. Like I didn't think about it. Like he was going like anorexic.
I thought it was just like, wow, that's maybe they should kill.
Yeah, maybe he
Iron
should
Man.
die.
He
Well,
looks awful.
I don't know about you guys, but I thought he was gonna die right there.
That fast.
Because and I'm pissed because they showed in the trailer that he obviously comes back.
Yeah.
But I legit was like, when he laid down and then Nebula sat him in the chair, I'm like,
That
did
would've
they
been-
just
that
kill
would've
Iron
yeah,
Man?
yeah. When she sat him down, I was like,
No way.
wow, are they actually
No,
going that
literally,
direction?
I was sitting there saying out loud, like, no way. Like, no way they're gonna kill Iron Man right here, right now, at the beginning of the movie, and Thanos.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
That would have been crazy. And I once I saw the light too, I was kind of pissed that it was Captain Marvel that saved him, and she just like flew him back to the.
Yeah, it was very
I'm like,
convenient. It was very
Captain
convenient.
Marvel did do a lot of things in this movie that was like,
Yeah,
I'm super powerful.
I will say,
and she wasn't a big part of the movie.
She wasn't in it at all.
Yeah, what
I
bothers
was
me is like
shocked.
I don't mind Captain Marvel, but I did not like her in this.
Well, one thing I will
because
say,
they used her as a MacGuffin so much.
yeah, I will
wait
agree
till
with
Captain
you.
Marvel comes and destroys Thanos'
see,
ship.
See, the thing is, for me, is like I'm with you. I have few complaints about this movie. Nothing major. Nothing that like ruined my experience. But Captain Marvel, I think they actually were pretty tame with her. I'm glad they didn't have, because one thing we were worried about that we talked about in our predictions is like, is she going to be the one that comes and rescues the day
And then
everything?
kills Thanos.
And then kills Thanos. It's like she wasn't. That's the good news. She
My
wasn't,
favorite
but-
scene was when Thanos grabs her hand and chucks her. Because I'm like, yeah,
cool.
she can't kill him.
Yeah, and then
Even she can fail.
yeah, I thought that was cool, and then but there definitely was some conveniences she had, like her rescuing Tony Stark. Like one of the biggest questions we had.
How
for
did
this
she
movie
know he
was
was
like,
there?
well, Captain America told them.
Told her?
Told her, yeah. You at least you assume that Captain America told her.
But how would Captain America know where he is?
Because remember, they knew he was in space. They knew
true.
he left. But like, it was very convenient because one of the biggest questions going into this movie was like, how does Iron Man get back to the Avengers? And
on his last day of oxygen,
it almost kind of felt like one of those super convenient answers. Like the writers, you know, I love the Russo
I think
brothers.
it's something the Russo brothers had to kind of
They were
like,
kind of just like,
frick, how
Captain
we gonna,
Marvel, go get some.
They were probably
cool.
thinking, they're probably sitting there like, how are we going to get Iron Man back? And they're like, Captain Marvel.
I mean, it works. And at the end of the day, it's a superhero movie. It's like, who cares that much? But like,
but what worries me
it
still
was very
is
convenient.
something Hasten mentioned on our predictions, which is I hope Captain Marvel's not the Superman of the Marvel, which she's kind of turning out to be, which makes me really mad because if they really wanted to, if Captain Marvel stayed around, it would have been a lot different movie. A lot of the stuff wouldn't have happened. They would have had it a lot easier. She would have just been doing all the shiz herself. And I do like that they didn't use her as much, but it doesn't make sense why.
I feel like we still don't know her full power though.
We don't, because and then she claims like, I'm the most powerful. I'm doing everything you guys are doing so on multiple planets.
The power that I know she has is she can destroy ships.
Yeah.
Like Captain Marvel, her big thing. What did she do?
She
destroyed the entire fleet.
Yeah. With the
what did she do in this one?
And the thing is,
she destroyed the ship.
Marvel, but yeah.
She's just infused with like plasma, right? She's not like it's not like extraterrestrial.
She's infused with the Tesseract.
She's like in.
It's not the Tesseract. Remember, it's the ship that blows up and she absorbs.
But the ship
Have you
is
seen
powered.
Captain Marvel?
Yeah,
the ship is powered by the Tesseract.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One thing I will say is,
but once again, Scarlet Witch is powered by the Redstone.
No.
And so is Quicksilver. Yeah. In Avengers 2, they say when the people were texting with the Reality Stone that they tested it on subjects.
Well, from what I understand is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are theoretically they're X-Men.
Not the
they're
Reality
mutants.
Stone.
They just didn't have the rights. In fact, it's funny because they call them in Age of Ultron, they call them miracles instead of mutants.
Sorry, not the Reality Stone, the Mind Stone. The one that they use for Vision. They are testing it. They talk about it in Avengers 2.
Either way,
say we're testing on people, and then it shows Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Right?
Yeah. Either way, we're getting on a tangent with that.
I don't know, but it just bothers me because like Captain Marvel, sure, she's infused by a Infinity Stone, right? But so are so many other superheroes. Well, most of the superheroes are.
Here's what I was gonna say: is I actually loved Captain Marvel the movie.
I did. It was really good.
I thought Captain Marvel was probably a top 10 MCU movie.
One of the better ones. Definitely.
Yeah, one of the better ones. And then, but I will say this: like, I wasn't a huge fan of her in Endgame. I'm actually really glad she wasn't in it that much because I liked that it was more of the OG Avengers.
When I would say, what the frick was with her haircut at the end?
That's the comics. It's the comics.
Okay, it looked weird.
I'm surprised because you've seen Captain Marvel when she puts her hair in that helmet.
Yeah.
Like I figured that's how it kind of would be.
Mm-hmm.
But she never had her helmet on this entire movie.
Yeah, I was actually fine with the haircut because that is the comics. I thought it was kind of cool because I was like, oh, it's like the comics. There was probably
and they brought it up. They mentioned it. Rocket's like got another haircut.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, Captain Marvel was one of the few things that I'm glad she wasn't super
big,
which brings up a question I had that I couldn't figure out the answer to. Where does Captain Marvel go?
Well,
why is she gone?
She mentions it.
She's going around because remember, they're in that conference call and she's like, the things that are happening on Earth
are happening
everywhere else.
Okay.
She's
dealing with them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's doing what Scarlett Johansson was doing on Earth.
Yeah.
Everywhere else.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Because I was gonna say that was one thing I was
she's
like.
Amazing.
I was she can do it the entire universe.
She can somehow teleport from multiple planets.
Well, she's insanely fast.
She's like Superman.
No, I know.
So theoretically, yeah, but yeah, that is one thing that I was like. It was another convenience that she was gone.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Eagles on Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, why didn't you?
It's
use
the
them?
Eagles. Here's Captain
They're
Marvel.
here to save us. It's Captain Marvel. She destroyed Thanos' ship.
Yeah,
when he was destroying everything.
She absolutely crushed that.
Which I thought was an awesome scene.
I did too. But then again, I was like,
3D.
It was very conveniently when everyone was about to die. You know?
Yeah. It was a total Eagles moment. That's a good way to describe it. Is Captain Marvel definitely was the Eagles of this movie, where it's like, oh frick, something's bad's about. Here comes Captain Marvel to save the day. But it wasn't. I was so glad that they didn't do the thing we were worried about, where she comes in and she's the answer to all the problems, because she wasn't.
I will say, this is jumping ahead. I'm so glad it was Iron Man out of everyone. The one who started everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who ended it.
Well, it was cool too. I don't know if you guys noticed. I mean, I'm sure you did, but like, some of the lines that were callbacks, like what he said to Thanos when he died was, "I'm Iron Man."
I love that.
That was
so
cool
sick because Thanos is saying,
"Oh yeah, I am Iron Man."
It's a callback to the
and
first
that's
time,
what I love
the
is
very
because
first
Thanos
movie.
throughout the movie says this classic line. He says, "I am inevitable," right?
Yeah.
And it's really cool. But then
I am
the
Iron
Iron
Man.
Man's like, "F you, dude. I'm freaking Iron Man."
Yeah,
It's like,
for a second I was like watching it in theaters. I was like, "This is a long pause," because he's like, "I am,"
I knew he was. Gonna
and then
say
he
Iron
sits there forever, and I'm like,
I think he was
"What is he
thinking.
gonna say?"
What
Yeah,
he
and
said.
then he's just like Iron Man. And as soon as he said it, I was like, "That's freaking awesome." But at first I was like, "This is a long pause."
They kind of killed him quick.
Yeah,
too.
they did.
Like he snaps, so that's how you bring. Kind of weird. How do you bring this up? So he snaps and it does the thing. I can't remember what it does. Exactly.
It shows everyone.
it makes
die.
all
It shows
the
another
aliens
bad guys die.
Oh, all the yeah. That's
It
how
shows all the
that's
aliens
how,
disintegrating.
That's how Thanos dies in this
Okay,
movie.
yeah, real quick.
Gosh,
Explain
dang it,
that.
there's so much.
So
There's
real
so
quick,
much to
explain
talk
that then. So
well,
what happens?
I say we come back.
Yeah, let's get
because that's the
we'll
very
get
end
to
of
that.
the
That's
movie.
very
Let's come back.
Let's
to
go
that.
kind of by in order.
Cool. Another real fast. Another line delivery. I was gonna say that I thought was a great callback was Falcon to Captain America that on your left, and then the portal opens.
Well,
stuff
and
for all the other
not
Avengers.
just that,
was
Avengers
cool.
Assemble.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Everybody.
I
I
just
was
meant-
I was so
everybody.
excited for that to come, and
Oh,
I
that
felt
was
like
so
I didn't
cool,
get.
dude.
I felt like I didn't get enough. I wanted the full
More-
like
the
frame.
full
I
frame,
feel like it was
yeah.
a pano.
It was
like,
a pan.
frame.
Yeah.
And it was like, dang it, I wanted the full like
I'm with you.
I am glad.
Avengers, and it was just like Captain
Yeah.
America standing there. Avengers assemble.
Well,
That
this
was
kinda-
that was one of my very few complaints. Also, is that the shot was the panning shot
it
was
was a
awesome
good
with all
shot,
of them,
and it
but-
looked awesome with all the portals in the back.
Yeah.
Like,
I
That
think
was
the way the
cool.
Russo brothers probably thought of it is think about how impossible it's going to get everybody in one shot.
Yeah, but
they'll
I mean-
be like microscopic because there's so many people
Of
now.
course, but it still would have
They
been cool.
could have done it,
I
though.
wanted one shot just straight on. One shot straight on with Captain America right in the middle, and then everyone around.
It could have been a second long. I don't care.
Yeah, 1 second long. Yeah, I agree with you. I liked the pan shot. The pan shot was cool, but it only lasted a few seconds.
I do-
And you couldn't
yeah.
really see everyone because it moved so fast.
I do want a one shot because we even had the funeral scene where it shows everyone, but once again it was a panic
Not
shot.
Iron
Well,
Man though.
and
You don't
also,
get Iron Man
yeah,
or
and
Captain-
also it
yeah,
was
you get Captain, though.
they were all in like suits and stuff. I want them in their
Their
costumes.
scarves, and like action pose.
I was really worried we weren't going to get that shot though altogether because going back to that part, Captain America, Thanos is beating him down. I thought that's when they were going to kill Captain America. I was like, oh, Captain America's going
when
to
he's
die
like
now.
punching him,
yeah,
like-
and then Captain America stands up, and there's that awesome shot of him standing looking at the army all by himself with the sun
and
behind
dude,
him.
Thanos is saying the coolest shit
This
ever.
fight, this is the best fighting scene in any
so
Marvel.
cool.
scene.
I'd say even up there with any movie.
Well,
of
I
all
was going to
time.
bring up
It
one.
was so.
You know what it
epic.
reminded me
I've
of?
never wanted to scream in a movie theater.
For real, be
more.
like yes.
You know what it reminded me so much of is my favorite movie, Return of the King, with the
It does.
bro, hit him! And the shouting, and then them charging in, yeah.
Shot!
Because
Yeah.
it was like the theme
same
play. Like,
thing.
as in Lord of the Rings, it's the da-na-na-na-na-na,
Yeah.
and then in this it was the dun dun dun
But
dun.
But I loved even before
So
that how
good, dude.
sick it shows how big Thanos' army is. Thanos is sitting there and he's like, you know what? I usually don't do this for pleasure, but what I'm gonna do to your planet, I'm gonna enjoy.
It's gonna be basically.
And then
sport.
he grabs the sword like, and then it shows the monsters flying in from Avengers 1, them letting loose that giant ape thing, and all of his minions
That's another
coming
cool
out.
thing is like if you haven't watched all the other movies,
Oh yeah.
you're gonna miss out on so many things in this movie.
yeah.
because they literally flash back to every
Yeah.
Avengers
That
movie.
is, oh
They
my
flash
gosh,
back
this
to
is a
Thor: The
whole
Dark
other part
World.
We have
that's
to-
so
we have
Thor:
to-
dope.
The Dark World. That was
Yeah.
such trash.
Dude,
so
and
random.
like it's like
We got to go back here. So let's
Okay,
rewind.
and then
let's
we're getting
pull it-
extra scenes
well, hold
from
up.
Avengers 1
Let-
where they're
yeah.
in the tower. That's so
yeah.
sick.
Let's pull a Doctor Strange here. Let's
We'll go
reverse
back.
time.
Okay.
we're
let's-
getting out of hand.
Yeah, let's
Like,
go back to the. I think the best way to
Is
organize
scene
it.
by-
Let's kind of
kinda
go
like area
like
by area.
chronologically. Let's
Right.
kind of go through it. So
I think where we were was
Thor chops off
right
Thanos'
after
head.
that. Yeah.
So, well, let's go. I want to actually talk a little bit more about the fact that I was so shocked that we were mentioning it briefly, but they literally rescue Tony, and it's such a quick thing where they're just like,
It's very quick.
let's go freaking F up Thanos, and Captain Marvel's like, they're at this planet, they go, and he's dead.
Well,
Like,
and it's not even like there's not even like a brief period between, because usually what
Oh,
they'll
that's
do
what
is
I
like
was gonna say, yeah.
they'll usually rescue him and then there'll be like a shot in between and then it'll show the ship coming back.
Yeah.
It was rescue him and then the next shot was them at Earth.
I was gonna say
Very
this was
quickly.
one of my other very few complaints, and this isn't even a complaint. It's just a
Well,
minor
you do
thing I
you do
noticed.
show Captain Marvel carrying the ship in.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is it's not like we don't get the shot of her grabbing the ship and then like a quick thing with like Captain America or something.
Well-
it's like immediately just to the ship again.
What I was gonna say is one of my minor it's not even a complaint, but like one of the minor things I noticed that I was like, huh, that's a little weird, is you were kind of briefly talking on it, is when they go to Thanos, like it's so quick. I kind of wanted a bit
of
more,
resistance from Thanos.
No, not even that, but a bit more build up to that. Like I know it was supposed to be just like, because there's so much more after that, but I wanted to see like, you know, Iron Man comes back and he's very like snotty to Captain America. It's just very confusing, and they're not on good terms. And then it's just like, well, let's just go kill Thanos, you know?
Yeah,
and then they just kind of go, and it's
they're
like,
kind of arguing like, how are we going to kill him? We couldn't kill him before. What's it going to be different now?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see more mourning. I kind of wanted to see them more like, half the people we knew are dead.
Or
they're
even
gone.
more planning. Because literally, they're both sitting there and they're like arguing, and they're like, Iron Man's bringing up great points. How are we going to do it? How is it going to be different than the first time we fought Thanos? And how are we not going to die again? And then they're just like, well, let's go do it. And then they just, boom, boom, and he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Like, what bothers me is Infinity War shows how powerful Thanos is, because even before he has the Infinity Gauntlet, Captain America or Iron Man can barely put a dent and give him blood. Remember, he's like, drop all of that for a drop of blood.
Infinity War,
well, now you can just drop all the
gun.
stones.
Yeah, just not all
but
the
not,
stones.
He's not all the stones. That's what I mean. Is even still, Thanos is
In
huge.
this one, most of the movie, like when you
didn't
see
have
him,
it.
he doesn't even have.
Yeah,
the
but like think about it. Thanos at the
But shows
beginning of
how
Infinity
powerful he still
War,
was,
at the
like-
beginning of Infinity War, before he even has any stones besides the one, the Power Stone, he even fights Hulk
Destroys
bare
him.
fists.
Oh my
like,
gosh, yeah.
So Thanos, like, you can't just go in and grab his arm, chop it off, and chop off his head, right? I don't care who you are.
Well, he was almost killed by the Infinity Stone.
right. I will say he was weakened.
So he was weakened
a
a
lot. Yeah.
It's like they show the scene where he's like limping up the stairs after he grabbed his food,
and he's
You know
like
what I mean?
struggling. But I would have liked to seen like a little more planning on their part, like this is what we'll do, and like trying to find him, because they like instantly knew where he was because of Nebula. She's like, oh, I know where he is.
I was gonna say it's funny because so right after that shot, as soon as Thor cuts off his head, he starts walking away out the door, you know, and there's like the sun fading, and then it goes black. I turned to hasten because I'm like, they're doing what I predicted on our predictions. I was like, they're gonna show multiple realities. They're gonna show a possibility, like this was one of the possibilities, but they didn't win, so it's not the one that Doctor Strange saw. This is gonna be one of the realities, because it even says like 5. And then it fades in years later. But at first I thought it was saying like 5. Like 5, the number 5. This was the 5th reality. And then it was going to be like
4.
It was going to show
it was
going to show like a bunch of realities until the last one, which is like, this is the one they win on. But then they didn't. I was like, I'm glad they didn't go that direction. But that's, for a second, I totally thought that's what they were doing. And I turned to Hasten. I'm just like, I think they're going to freaking do my prediction with the whole multiple realities thing. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What were you saying though?
Yeah. So the realities. You looked at me and you're like, they're gonna do the realities, and then I think it cut to Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah. So what happens after? I'm trying to remember. So it says 5 years later, and then I think it's the post-apocalyptic stuff. It's like Cap at the meeting, the PTSD, whatever, with one of the Russo brothers as making a cameo. And then it basically just kind of starts going from there. It shows them just like hanging out. Oh, that's what it does. Iron Man's living on the place, the place with Gwyneth Paltrow and his kid.
Right.
Yeah,
he has a kid.
So he has a kid. That was a big question too with Infinity War. That was set up, and the payoff is he does have a kid. It's Morgan, right? I think Morgan's the name. Something like that.
It's a girl, so I think it's a girl's name. Though.
Yeah, I think it's Morgan though.
Maybe it's Morgan.
Morgan can go both ways, I think.
Sure, Morgan Stark.
Yeah, exactly.
Morgan Potts.
Morgan Potts.
Because Tony Stark's name's Potts now.
Yeah, yeah. My name Tony Potts. Wait, what did he say to his dad? He was like,
he's like Howard. No,
Howard Potts.
Howard Potts.
Yeah, that was another great moment. There's so many great moments in this movie that
I'm forgetting them.
I know, that's
really
the thing.
badly right now.
But anyway, we basically get Cap, and then even before that, Ant-Man shows up. That's what I think happens.
That's right.
Ant-Man, it shows the van. A rat happens to step on the quantum realm
lucky
thing.
after 5 years.
What a lucky thing. After 5 years, Scott Lang is reawakened. He goes and sees the memorial, sees his name on there. You know, people think he's dead, and so he decides to go to Avengers HQ, and then Cap and Scarlett Johansson find him. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what kicks off this whole idea of the quantum realm being a time travel system.
I don't. Is it the quantum? So I know they get Small to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Lang doesn't discover this time travel. Stark does.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I thought it was going to be Lang that figures this out.
Me too.
I was like, he's going to be the main thing. Stark's just like.
I mean, he
what
planted.
does he say?
He planted the idea at least.
When he's like, when he figures it out, he's like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, he's like, He says the S word. Yeah, he's
Okay,
like,
shiz.
yeah, and then his daughter's like, shiz.
Yeah,
It
that's
says
funny.
it back. He's like, no, put that on your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Yeah, because Ant-Man comes back. I mean, I love the part where he's like, whose sandwich is that? And he just goes and starts eating the sandwich that Black Widow had made. But then he's telling him about the quantum realm and telling him how, for him, those 5 years was only 5 seconds. Or
5
something.
hours.
5 hours,
Yep.
yeah. And so it was like a super fast thing for him. And that gets the time travel idea in their head, which, going off of a base level thing here, I kind of want to just briefly talk about the time travel stuff, because even though we kind of knew time travel would be involved in some way with this movie, with the quantum realm, I didn't think they were going to go full-blown time travel, like Back to the Future style movie.
Oh yeah, they just went straight up like,
with-
you can time travel now.
Yeah, with all the like Avengers, original Avengers movie tiebacks, Thor: The Dark World, as you brought up. Like, I didn't see that stuff coming at all. That was all a major surprise to me, which I actually thought was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, so Ant-Man's in the quantum realm, or he's out of the quantum realm, starts talking to Iron Man, and then Iron Man's like, oh, okay, he just
Well, you saw-
he starts figuring.
You
it out
mentioned
himself
real
and
quick
learns
when
it.
he comes out of the quantum realm. So he comes out and he sees his dog.
We already talked about this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you missed it.
It's
We're
fine.
at the point where Iron Man is now has figured out the time travel.
Okay. Oh, he's already figured it out. So
Yeah.
he already did like the models and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
where we're at.
Okay.
And he has his kid.
Right,
and-
because what I'm imagining what's going through Iron Man's head is he's thinking like, I don't want to. I know what happened sucked, but it doesn't want to lose his kid. You know, and so he would totally do it, but he doesn't want to lose what he already has. You know, so they figure it out, right? And Iron Man's kind of
Real quick, I want to get your guys' reactions on this real quick because we skipped past it. What did you guys think about this new Hulk?
Oh my gosh,
that was a
Did we
crazy
skip
thing.
past that already?
Yeah,
because they already have because they meet him in a cafeteria.
So
Oh
they,
my
yeah, that's
gosh.
right. Because they actually go to Bruce Banner first before Tony,
do the
or
time
after
travel.
Tony, because Tony
Tony
at first,
says no.
He says no, and then they go to Bruce Banner, and now he is officially Hulk all the time. That's
Yeah.
a big reveal because
That's awesome.
in all the promotional material too, they show Bruce Banner as himself. So that was a cool reveal. I like
looked
it.
weird to me.
It looks very
It
weird.
was strange.
It was
It
very
was like
strange.
Hulk's not the Hulk; it's Banner Hulk.
It's Banner, but in
It's a
Hulk's
character,
body.
kind of like Ragnarok. Like Hulk is the Hulk, but he's a smarter Hulk.
Yeah, he's smart. It's Hulk with Bruce Banner's brain.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So, but in this one, you straight up get the best of both worlds for both of these guys,
Yeah, by the end for sure.
and I think that's gonna be awesome because Hulk's my favorite character.
I-
my favorite superhero. So I'm like so pumped for this.
I loved it.
It's gonna be a character.
Honestly,
for
yeah, for real. I hope they don't change this. I
Yeah,
hope
me
he
neither.
doesn't go back because this is awesome, and I can't wait for something like Planet Hulk. If we get like
So
Planet Hulk as a
Ragnarok, I don't
movie.
think we'll actually get it now because I realized. So, what's it called? The movie I was talking about on Netflix that I watched.
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk is basically Ragnarok,
Oh, gotcha.
so it won't happen.
So it's connected.
Yeah.
I think
It's
they'll
like-
still
they
do
could
something
do it.
Like
They could
Korg's
do it.
in there and Mike's in there and all
They
this.
could do.
But they do it in a
something
different-
unique.
yeah.
The thing is I really appreciate what they did with Hulk in this movie because for Hulk, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Hulk as a character because he's just kind of one note. Like, he's destroy, which as a superhero that's cool, but like as a character, it's kind of like, what is his like? Who I want to know about Bruce Banner and the Hulk. I want to know them a bit more because it's most of the movies. It's always Hulk see, Hulk destroy.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. Exactly.
When you see the oh my
You know,
God.
like stairs.
that scene, yeah, no,
Yeah.
like there's but
Yeah.
the scene when Hulk goes and destroys that vehicle when they're doing
Oh
the
yeah,
flashback.
it jumps
And
on
then
it
Hulk-
like,
and
and
then
then
Hulk-
Hulk,
and
it
then
shows
Hulk-
Bruce Banner, and he's like,
he's like, oh.
yeah.
He's like, just smash some stuff while you're going, and then Banner's like, "Roo."
Oh, yeah,
punches the
he's
side
like,
of the car.
"Rah,
Yeah.
Roar.
rah."
yeah, for
No,
sure.
my favorite is the way we get introduced to the new Hulk. Is he's like, you want to snap a picture for us? And then he's like, all right, hey, Hulk on, you
dab,
guys,
dab, dab, and he does it the wrong way too. He's like dab.
Dude, dab.
I liked,
love that.
Yeah, I liked this Hulk. This is my favorite version of the Hulk so far
Oh, yeah.
because he's Hulk, but with an actual personality instead of just being like Hulk smash.
Well, and I'll
he has a
say-
personality, and then he can turn into the.
I know I
Ragnarok
haven't seen
space.
Thor Ragnarok, which I still can't believe.
That's insane.
But he from what I saw of Korg, he reminds me of Korg. Like very funny, kind of just stupid, like whatever.
Korg's not like powered in
You
any
gotta
way,
see
though.
Korg.
I
You gotta
love
From
watch
what I
Korg.
saw from him, he
Korg's
looked
my
freaking hilarious.
one of my favorite characters
Me
in the
too.
whole universe.
Korg is just a total.
I wish they would have put more of him. You don't get
Oh
much
my
of
gosh,
Korg. You
yeah.
get Korg in this movie,
Yeah,
but
so I
you
guess
don't get much at all.
We can go ahead and transition into when we first see Thor because that's a big moment. Thor is fat.
Wait, I want to continue about Hulk real quick because
Okay,
like
yeah.
it makes him for me like much more of a character than like a weapon.
Yeah.
Because Hulk was always like
That's
the
why
hammer.
I think they've never been able to make a really good movie about it.
Exactly,
it is.
yeah.
That's
Because
exactly
like
what-
really all you're gonna do is he's gonna smash.
Smash.
things.
When I loved how
Now they can tell
they
the whole
had him
story.
like interact with the Sorcerer Supreme, the girl who died in Doctor Strange.
Another thing, real fast. Another thing that was super weird though that I was going to bring up to you guys is I totally forgot that Hulk and Natasha had a relationship.
Yeah.
And were like in love. I don't feel like Hulk's
She did.
reaction to her death was that great. Like I
Well,
kind of
they
feel like
kind
he
of
was
Dropped,
kinda like,
he dropped to his knees.
yeah, but I mean,
Well,
like,
and remember they had kind of moved on after Avengers 2 after he left.
Well,
Because
yeah,
he got on the ship and he left and
well,
it was
then
kind of
he,
like
yeah, he
him
went
saying
to, well,
like,
he went to Ragnarok
Yeah.
or for Thor Ragnarok, but it's like I still feel like it was a little weird. Like if they loved each other, they were like boyfriend girlfriend
But
essentially.
the thing is, we didn't get to see enough of his reaction because it did show him drop to his knees. But not only that, he says at the end of the movie, he says, "I really did try to drink when I had the gauntlet. I tried to bring her back."
Mm-hmm.
He says that, you know.
Well, yeah, but that's why it's kind of one of my slight complaints is just because I wanted a little more. Like we didn't see enough of it. You guys are right. Like he probably did more, but we just didn't see it that much. Granted,
think
there's
we saw
so
tears.
much that happens at the end
So
of
much.
this
Ugh.
movie that it's like I understand why. Like for crying out loud, we didn't see what happened to Gamora. We didn't see what happened to like a ton of the characters. Like they just Captain Marvel. Last time we see her, she's just at the funeral. It's like there's so many characters that we didn't get like to see where they went after that, which is fine. Like that makes sense for this movie, and we get to see it in the future. But
For me, I'm very glad because the original six from Avengers 1, they did wrap up all their storylines very good in my opinion. Because Hulk seems like he's going to continue doing what he's doing.
Hulk and Thor. Oh, Thor's gonna be part of the Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Which
dude.
looks awesome.
Hulk and Thor will be the only two remaining, basically, because Hawkeye went back with his family like he did in Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Black Widow's dead, which her wrap up was awesome. We'll get to that.
yeah.
Iron Man once again dead. We'll get to that. Captain America, we'll get to this as well. Is
That's
old
another
and
huge
gone.
thing, Captain
Not
America.
dead though.
Not dead, which
is
I'm
awesome.
I'm glad they
Great.
wrapped his.
It was
his
a
up.
They
great
really ended
way
that
to
well because they
handle his
they
character.
kill Stark,
Killed
and I was
Black
like,
Widow.
they're gonna kill.
They can't
they're gonna
kill-
Cap.
yeah.
but they didn't. They sent him out really well.
Yeah, and I love that, you know, it's an easy cliche in Hollywood that's like, oh, if you want to make audiences cry, what do? You kill the character. It's like, I think it was a great way to subvert expectations
show that you
be
don't
like,
have
you
to
show
kill.
that it's like, you can still make an emotional, resonating
I mean, I was crying with
scene
Captain America,
and send off for a character by not killing them. Like, I was still bawling. I
Oh,
was
and
still,
especially
it
when he
showed
was
that-
dancing.
When he was
Pussies.
dancing with Carter. What was that?
Pussies.
But like when he was like dancing with Peggy, I was bawling. I was like, this is a great send off for that
Me
character
too.
because
He
he didn't need to die for me to feel sad.
Well, it kind of was the perfect what's the word, conclusion for his character for me,
Oh,
because
yeah. Great
it
character
kind of
development.
throws back to the first Captain America where it's the only reason Steve Rogers stays in the ice is to protect the Tesseract, remember, to bring it to the Avengers after, right?
Well, I don't think.
Well,
No,
he
he
takes
doesn't.
the shield.
No, he doesn't.
Shield
stay in
gets
the ice.
him out.
He doesn't stay in the ice on purpose.
Oh no, he doesn't.
He
but
crashes the.
Well, yeah,
plane
he crashes
that's there.
with the Tesseract,
Yeah.
and then they get both of them out. And I thought it was the perfect send off because it kind of shows that it's kind of like him basically going back in time to where he never did.
Well, he
go
was a
in
man
ice.
out of time in the first place. That's kind of like his
Exactly.
whole story arc.
Yeah.
Is like he's like I'm a kid from Brooklyn. I don't know what the future's like, you know. And I thought it was a great way to reconnect his character to the past, to who he truly was, and having him with Peggy. I think that was such a great character wrap up arc for him because throughout the series we've been seeing. I think it was in. Was it Age of Ultron or Civil War or something? He visits
She's
her
old.
She's an
And then
old
she
woman,
dies,
and
yeah.
she dies, and like we get to see all these arcs with him, and the entire time he
He's
misses
mourning
her.
her, and he's
there's
missing her.
There's a weird.
He's like,
thing,
you got to move on.
There's a
And he's,
weird
like,
thing
looking
in
at a picture.
Civil War where he hooks up with her like great granddaughter or something like
That's
that.
right.
Which is weird, and then. But he's doing it because he wants Peggy. He needs some sort of connection to Peggy.
Well, then he gets there's that really cool emotional scene which I love, which is later on in the movie where he's with Tony Stark and he's downstairs and he's looking at the picture.
Oh, I love that.
and then he's
scene.
looking at her through the glass.
Through the
and it's
glass.
like she doesn't know he's looking, and he's just like,
I think Captain America has a really great theme too. I think it was like his theme song playing on piano there, and it was so good. Like it was, I love his theme song because it's like a classic like World War II-esque like army kind of strings music, like, and you're like, and it's like empowering, you know. And and I saw him when he's looking at Peggy, and I'm like,
that whole
they have to do something with him coming back to her. So I'm glad they did.
Whole sequence with them going back to the 70s was very emotional in general. Because not only did they have that, but they had Tony interacting with his dad. Which was awesome, because Tony's always had a very shaky relationship with his dad since the first Iron Man.
Didn't his dad die before like he got to know him?
Exactly. But he always
oh yeah, that's right. Bucky killed him.
Oh my gosh.
He always hated his dad. From the first Avengers, he kind of resents.
They didn't address that at all this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they did it in
Civil War was the big one about that.
Yeah.
I think it kind of became,
and it wasn't Bucky's fault. It wasn't,
and he was brainwashed. But if you finally get to see Tony kind of finally interacting with his dad and almost seeing why his dad was the way he was, which is really cool. I thought that was a great way to kind of like conclude that like tension between him and his dad. Yeah,
and it was a great way to show some more layers to Tony Stark as a character, because like you said, the entire series, we've always known like his dad wasn't the best dad, like he wasn't around his dad that much, but it was this great way to be like, look, it was a way for him to tell his dad, like, look, I have a kid now too, without actually doing it, which is super cool. He's like, well, not just that, I'm scared just like you were and stuff. That was an awesome
when
moment.
You get to see why he named his robot Jarvis. His original butler was Jarvis, and
so weird.
It's so sick though. Like, and then he's like, I'm expecting, it's like this big moment where he's like, that's me. Like, you're why that's me that you're gonna have.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this too. Is like, so what did you guys think of the whole? Like, this movie is a time travel movie. It's going to go down in history.
Which is crazy.
It's one of like the Back to the Future time travel movies. What did you guys think of it being handled that way? For pretty much the entire middle act of this movie, it's like time travel stuff.
My favorite thing that they
bring up. Service central.
Yeah, really.
This thing just made people happy, for real.
I love that a line that I really like by Hulk is how he actually explains time travel. Because this is something I always try to explain to people. Is because time travel is not like people expect. Where like, if you go back in the past, you're not going to screw up your future. You're going to screw up somebody else's future, a different dimension's future. And
well,
saying,
I mean,
you can't alter your future.
Yeah,
you can't alter your past.
It's their idea of time travel, which is unique. Because the thing is like, yeah, there's the classic thing in movies where it's like in Back to the Future, Marty McFly goes back. If he talks to his old self, the entire space-time continuum is thrown off. Yeah, exactly. Everything is thrown off because of that one little decision.
I like that because it kind of shows it's
a unique,
like the multiverse. Because it's like, if you go back, you're not going to ruin your future. You'll ruin a different one. Like, I like that. I think that was a really cool explanation. The whole dynamic of the time, I think they handled it really well. I like that they used the Ant-Man's stuff. Basically, we were right about that. We knew something with Ant-Man going.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool that they couldn't just keep bouncing back and forth either.
Yeah,
they could only go once.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because they only
except for Cap and Iron Man.
Dude, yeah, when that happened though, when Captain Iron Man had to leave and they're like, we only got one shot at this. If
I thought
that was going to be it. I was like, I was going back to when I was in the predictions. I even said like, oh, I bet they'll have to stay or replace
in the Soul
them.
Stone. That's what we thought. Yeah,
yeah, and then turns out they didn't do that, which is cool. I love that they subverted expectations. In that
I do like that because I actually thought the same thing because they're sitting there at the first Avengers site and they're like, let's do it. You know, I'm like, this is how they're going to do it. I was like, that's going to be sick. And I thought it was going to line up perfectly because then Tony was with his dad and then Captain America was with Peggy. And I was like, well, it's going to line up perfectly. But then they end up going back.
Thor. Huh? Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, yeah. Thor. Yeah, let's get to Thor. Because
it's hilarious.
We get to see Thor.
So we get it first, before we see Thor, we find out he's created a new Asgard.
And we get this funniest scene with Hulk in the back of the truck and it's grinding against the ground like
yeah.
There's so many funny
and Rocket's in there too. But then so Bruce Banner and Rocket go to visit Thor and he's created new Asgard, and we finally get the reveal that the most important piece of news from Endgame, Korg lives. Korg did not get snapped. Just kidding. But Korg and Meek are playing Fortnite with Thor.
That's crazy. They show Fortnite.
And they're drinking
he's
beer.
fighting against Noob Killer 69.
Yeah, that was good.
And then Thor's like, Noob Killer, I will fly to your house and shoot lasers up your butt.
This is Thor.
I will go to the basement in which you dwell and kill you.
And I will rip your Xbox apart and shove it up your butt.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That was a...
Here you go, Korg. Thanks, Thor.
The whole theater was just laughing that entire scene.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Korg, I'm so glad that Korg was back. I love that they just had like this they were just a bunch of guys hanging out in, like, this grimy old
And
shack.
he's using
Fortnite.
Stormbreaker as a bottle opener.
Yeah. I thought this was a great moment because I've said this a lot, and I'm not the only one, obviously, but Chris Hemsworth is hilarious.
He is. He's a great actor.
I am
Even
shocked.
In,
I never
Ghostbusters
agreed with you.
2016. He carries that movie.
See,
totally.
I never agreed with you until I saw this. Like, because I never saw Thor Ragnarok. I haven't seen the Ghostbusters. I've never seen like a comedic side to him.
And that's the thing is,
He was so funny.
He is so good at being funny. I don't know what it is. I think it's because his line deliveries. He looks like such a tough dude that hearing
and
him
they keep portraying him as like someone
yeah,
who's tough,
kind of
like,
dumb, like in a
like,
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's freaking hilarious. And I love that they showed him as fat in this. Because Chris Hemsworth is known as the freaking
like hot,
dude,
ripped,
ripped
all the
guy.
women hate this movie.
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. I turned to my girlfriend. I'm like, I love that they made him fat. She's like, I didn't.
It's like if they did that to Scarlett
You're like,
Johansson.
I did.
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
I look a lot better, don't I?
Yeah, I bet you I look more appealing to you now. Huh?
I love the whole dynamic with him being almost a shell of Thor.
He's
right?
he's a drunkard.
Yeah, he becomes
Yeah.
how Hulk was in Infinity War. Infinity War made Hulk kind of a shell of what he was. He couldn't really fight how he was. He couldn't make
Hulk.
Yeah, he couldn't make Hulk come out. He was kind of like not Hulk. This is how Thor was. He wasn't Thor. He was like nervous. He was having like panic attacks. He couldn't do stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy. Some of the
It's cool. Like, it was a
decisions
cool
they did with
dynamic.
Thor was really cool because Thor, I think, is one of the best characters in the MCU that they've developed over time.
yeah.
Because Thor at the very beginning in Thor 1 and 2 and in the first Avengers is still as a rock. Like,
Well, and
Chris
he
Hemsworth
was the
is-
Captain Marvel. He was the one who.
Well, what I
kill
mean by
everyone.
still as a rock is like just his
yeah,
character.
yeah,
Like
no,
he was one note. He
nobody
was,
really cared
he's,
about him.
I'm the tough god Thor. Like, fear me. Like, he wasn't that.
Even with his
funny,
movies,
he wasn't
we didn't
that-
get much-
He wasn't that relatable because he's just a god. Like, you can't really relate.
Yeah, like even with his movies,
They've made him so much more down to earth and like
Human.
Human, exactly. Yeah, they've made
Much
him more
more
human, which is awesome. Like,
when I love them,
you actually
'cause
appreciate him more.
Speaking of him being human, his mom even kind of gives him that talk where she's like, "You don't have to be this god. You can be whatever you want to be."
I thought so many times when it was showing him with his mom that it was going to be Loki. I thought they were going to pull a trick.
Especially
and,
when she was looking around.
When he leaves, I thought he was going to disintegrate, and it was going to be Loki.
You know
or
who I
something.
thought was Loki? I thought it was Bucky at the end. Remember when Captain America goes into the time machine and then they're like, "Where did he go?" And then it shows Bucky kind of like.
Oh, I thought the same thing.
I thought his eyes were going to go like.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Because I don't. This is kind of just a theory, but I think Loki's still alive, obviously, because in one of the timelines that they go in, that they screw up where they don't get the Tesseract, they knocked that stone out of the dimension, which they talk about, but Loki escapes, right? So in my opinion, Loki's back alive.
I don't think
Which
Loki's alive.
I think he
Loki's
is. I
dead.
think it's something that will come up in either a later Avengers or even in like the Loki TV
I think
show.
the Loki TV show is going to be a prequel show about him. Yeah. I don't think Loki's alive at all. But
once again,
that'd be
I mean,
great.
that's something that wasn't answered. Even so, if that's not true, if that is something that it might just be a plot hole, right? That's a big plot.
I don't
hole.
think it's a plot hole.
But
like,
it is, because they said in each timeline, if they
we
take
already
Soul
talked
Stone
about
and
this.
not
I
bring
don't
it
want to
back.
go over it too much because we just fundamentally disagree on this. I think that they went back to the same timeline and just took it from an earlier stage. So that timeline that they were in with the original Avengers didn't exist
But
anymore.
each timeline's different, remember?
Well,
no
no-
matter what timeline.
Not
If they
necessarily.
go back, it's a different timeline.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's up for debate.
Because
But
in
I
that
don't.
certain timeline,
I think Loki's dead.
in that one timeline that Loki took it, that one
I
that's gone.
personally hope Loki's dead actually because it makes it more real that Thanos
well,
killed him.
and like
you
I
know?
said, even if Loki is dead, right? He
Otherwise,
could even
Thanos didn't kill a single person.
Yeah.
no, but in
Which
that
is kinda
timeline,
Gamora, maybe.
in that
Kind of,
timeline,
yeah, exactly.
in that timeline, it is gone, right? Like Loki could eventually die, but I'm saying it's still a screwed up timeline. Like whether anybody likes it or not, because in that timeline they lost the Tesseract. Like in that same timeline, it's gone, right? No matter what, if you went back to that same one where Iron Man had the heart attack and stuff, the Tesseract's gone because Loki took it.
Well, but not if you went before that. Like
But that's
if
a
you went
different
in time.
timeline then.
I mean, not
Because that one time, remember that's how they put it. Each timeline's different, right? So if you went back before that, that creates a different timeline.
I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly how they were intending. I mean, maybe you could be right. That's the thing. We don't know.
I'm pretty positive
know.
I am, but once again, it's all up to interpretation.
Well, that's
but
the thing is like
if not,
yeah,
then that is a plot hole. That is a big plot hole.
I don't think it's a plot hole though. The thing is, in your version, it's a plot hole. In my version, it's not. Like I said, they
See,
go back
in my impression,
in time
I
to the same.
thought they
one.
took the I thought they just straight up went back in time. I didn't think they went to a whole nother time thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, right?
Well, no, like, the Sorcerer Supreme explains it, right? She pulls up the timeline. She says, look, if you go back in time, if she says, if I sent you back a week and you took the stone and didn't bring it back to that same timeline, it would screw up that timeline. It wouldn't screw up mine or yours. Ours would be fine, but that timeline would be screwed up, right? Then, so that's why they had to go deliver them all back to the same timeline. But they forgot the one crucial one, which was the Tesseract from when they didn't get it. Because they got the Tesseract from Howard Stark in the 70s, but they didn't get the Tesseract from New York.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing we just disagree on, which is fine. It's not even disagree. It's just theories. Like, neither one of us are correct necessarily. We'll find out.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Eventually
we'll find out. I'm sure. If Loki never reappears, then we know he's dead. But
even if it, like I said, even if it's not Loki reappearing, I think it did cause some sort of a screw up with the timelines.
And I'm excited for Disney Plus.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Especially now.
Excited.
I mean, we kind of.
I'm 10 times more pumped now because another. We'll get to it, but it sounds like Falcon is going to be the new Captain America, which is awesome.
Or at least have a shield.
Yeah,
he might still be.
I was
Falcon.
telling this to Hasten when that moment happened in the theater. I've wanted to just say Captain Falcon. Like, that's going to be his
Captain
name.
Falcon.
He's Falcon, and then he's going to be the new Captain America, essentially. Yeah. So I hope they call him Captain Falcon.
I'm so glad he didn't give it to Bucky.
Me too.
I personally don't like Bucky a lot.
Bucky's not my favorite. Yeah, none of us are.
I liked him as Winter Soldier when he was like cool and didn't talk.
Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't even then. I was just like, meh.
I liked him as a villain.
Yeah,
as the Winter Soldier. It's funny because a lot of people love Bucky, but I'm just kind of like, meh. Whatever.
I don't know why
that's the thing. I don't understand what his like. What does he do?
He just has the robotic arm. He's good with a gun. That's basically, and it's not even that. I just don't like.
And then I didn't. You know what I didn't get? Like what was funny? Like when Rocket was like, "Hey, can I have that gun?" And it was just like a regular gun. It's like it was anything fancy.
Like, yeah,
Rocket has like this laser gun.
Yeah, it's like, why do you want that?
Wait, that was in Infinity War though, right?
That was in this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I'm glad
you brought up... stuff we're going to miss. I mean, I'm sure.
But... I'm glad you brought up Bucky, because Bucky is, for me, kind of one of those characters where it's like, we don't really care about him because we don't know much about him.
Well, and also...
After Winter Soldier, what do we know about Bucky?
I disagree that... I think we know a lot about
I think we know
Bucky.
more about Bucky than we do, like...
Scarlet Witch,
yeah.
But what I mean is, like...
And I care about Scarlet Witch more than I do Bucky.
But they haven't done anything with his characters since... What, Civil War? He's appeared very slowly through.
Personally, I disagree wholeheartedly with that because he was in the original Captain America. He's Captain America's best friend.
I'm saying since Civil War. Think about it. In Infinity War, we saw him
Civil War was only 3 years ago.
No, I know, but I think about it. Like in Infinity War,
he was a main fighter.
Yeah.
No, I know, but think about it. In Infinity War, they give him his new arm, and nothing really happens from it, right? It just shows him disappear at the end. Like, he doesn't do anything special. He's not, like, saving anybody. He's not, like, talking that much.
But he's one of the Avengers.
But I think he barely says any lines, like, at all. And he's supposed to be one of the bigger ones.
Bucky's, like, hardly in this movie at all. Which
that's what I mean.
Which is super weird.
It's kind of weird because they don't use Bucky as much as I
think Bucky's time is so... Like, I think Bucky was a major player for, like, Phase 2.
Well, I do. I agree with you. What I'm saying is...
huge in the Winter Soldier.
But he's completely dropped off now.
I mean, to an extent, I guess, but I think Bucky, like, I just don't care about him.
Well, I don't care about him either. I just think like it's crazy that they haven't used him like pretty much.
They have the awesome scene in Infinity War where he's spinning Rocket around with the gun.
Yeah, that's a cool scene.
That was really cool.
Yeah, Bucky's arc is weird. I'm glad he's not the new Captain America either because I think I like Sebastian Stan as an actor, but not necessarily as the Winter Soldier. Like,
well, and Bucky kind of bothers me. I don't know what it is.
It's I think it's his hair, kind of,
or something. I don't know.
Like something about his look,
his face.
It's his face.
It's I don't know, but because like you said, Sebastian Stan is not. I don't hate Sebastian.
No,
dude,
him as an actor. That's his name, right? Or is that?
I think
it is. Yeah, it's Sebastian Stan. Mm-hmm. In I, Tonya, he is amazing. I freaking love him in the movie I, Tonya with Margot Robbie. He's hilarious, but I feel like he's kind of one note. As once again another character that's just kind of like he's the Winter Soldier. He's Cap's best friend. You know, he kind of just talks like this. He's like, hey, Captain America.
And Captain America cares about him so much.
Yeah, it's like, but what? Like,
why?
I mean, no, I get why. It. No, I get why. I just don't connect with that relationship really. Which I like Captain America's relationship with Falcon way more.
Way more.
So I'm glad that Falcon's.
I like Captain America's relationship with Scarlett Johansson way more.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy because talking about Black Widow, I feel like Black Widow has been. There's so many times in these movies where I'm like, I don't know if it's just like the chemistry that comes off. I'm like, they look like they're gonna hook up. Like, I swear, like,
I know.
her and Hawkeye, I thought she was gonna hook up with Hawkeye. She apparently hooked up for real with Hulk, and then like Iron Man 2, she kind of hooks. Yeah, she kind of hooks up with freaking Iron Man a little bit. It's like, I don't know if
remember
it's
her
just...
and Captain America kiss in Avengers 2.
Yeah, and then Captain America too.
Or
like,
in Captain America.
Yeah,
she is.
I think it's just like her like presence or something. I don't know, but
I will agree
every single time I see it, I'm like, why? It seems like she's gonna hook up with all these people.
I will agree with Connor though. Disagree with you about Scarlett Johansson's death and how it seems like Hulk didn't care. Because we forgot about how after it shows him on the time machine, it shows him at the beach, and then Hulk is like pissed and he grabs the bench and chucks it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because they have a big. Because I was about to say
Once
like,
again, though,
nobody
it's
cared,
like-
but they had that big almost memorial.
Yeah, I think everyone cared. I'm not saying all of them didn't care.
No, I know.
I think Black Widow's death was.
I
amazing.
was going to say
I'm saying Hulk alone.
I like
in
how they
terms
fought
of
to die. Those two.
Yeah, that was a way.
That
cool
was
moment.
way cool. Yeah,
But once again, that was another thing. Like they have the whole moment where they
You know,
put their heads together.
I
I'm like,
went opposite
are
of
they
how I
gonna
thought
kiss?
it was going to go too.
Yeah,
I
me
did
too.
not think they were going to kill Black Widow. I was like, oh,
thought it was
they're
gonna be
gonna.
Hawkeye.
This is how they're going to send Hawkeye out.
yeah, I thought so
too.
too. Because I thought, especially since like he's a monster now and like he killed.
Well,
those
he wasn't
guys.
in Infinity War at all. Like they just didn't use him. And so
And I thought it would be kind of his way to like sacrifice himself for his family, but then like Black Widow killed herself.
And he was huge in this movie too.
He was a
Like,
big role.
He was huge.
Oh, and I'll say one of my favorite scenes. I don't know about you guys.
He was
It might have just been
massive,
me. Was the whole tunnel scene with him.
That
That was
was
almost
cool.
kind of scary.
Yeah.
The things like chasing him. It reminded me of Alien.
Mm-hmm.
It was very Alien-esque with him with the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, whoa.
Yeah, real fast. I just want to mention that my only thing, like, I just think Hulk wasn't. He was just angry mostly. About
Yeah,
her
he wasn't
death.
necessarily
Instead of
sad.
like he was sad at some points, but I wanted to see him like have like a
tear,
crying
yeah.
scene or something, just because if they
Just,
were lovers, you
turn
know?
to the Hulk and just go crazy.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, because like I don't know. I just
him,
if
like,
they were
rage.
if they
Him,
were
like,
yeah
rage
yeah
out.
a rage version of it, because like if they were hooked up, or I mean if they were in love. It's like I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't the best reaction, which is fine. The rest of the characters, though, I thought Jeremy Renner's reaction to it was amazing. Like the scene where he's hanging on the grapple after she dropped. Like I was bawling.
I
Isn't
thought
he
he
literally,
more
like,
when he
he
gets
looks
the
down
stone.
and he's like-
yeah, he wakes up and he sees the stone,
Yeah, and
and
starts
instead of
crying.
being like, yay, he's like,
He's crying.
he's like, no, and he like slams his hand, and then he's like,
Yeah.
it's like this
And then
really
when they all
sad.
come back, they're like, "What do they say?" They're like,
And he's
"Wait."
just sitting there.
He just falls
Oh
on
yeah,
his
because he
knees.
goes back and then he just drops to his knees immediately, and he's like,
So I want to talk about this a little bit because what do you guys think this means for the MCU as a whole? Because Black Widow is one of the main Avengers. Obviously, she's one of the OGs. Mm-hmm. So we obviously know they're making a Black Widow movie. That has to be a prequel now, right? Like we're all in agreement there because unless they're doing some alternate universe thing, it's going to be a prequel. So I am honestly shocked by this death. This was the biggest shock because everyone's predicted Iron Man and Captain America. Yeah. I would not have guessed Black Widow.
Never.
At all. Like that was like you said, that was a great moment with them like fighting to who kills themselves, you know? And I totally thought it was with you. I thought it was going to be Hawkeye for sure.
Well, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of characters I thought way over Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even like Hulk and Thor.
Yeah.
Even though I knew that they probably wouldn't, I was thinking more than Black Widow.
More than Black Widow for sure. Yeah. I thought Hulk was going to die at one point too. I think you were mentioning that.
Yeah. So because there's a scene where Hulk, after
The snap?
Thanos shoots the Avengers tower, which we thought Ant-Man was gonna die right
the
there
Avengers
too.
building or base. It's not a tower,
building,
but...
and it shows
Nebula does that.
Yeah.
It shows Hulk kind of holding up the building to
For
let the other two
Rhodey
escape.
and Rocket.
He holds
And
up
I-
an entire
And
building.
I thought he was gonna let it drop on him, like after he saved them, like kill himself. And I even thought we thought for a minute that Ant-Man died because he's like, "Wow, I think we did it," and then a missile.
Dude,
hits
when
him.
that part happened, when Ant-Man's looking,
It
out
was
the
one of
window,
those
he's
big,
like,
like-
guys, I think we did it, and all of a sudden there's the explosion. I was like, no, did they just kill Ant-Man? Because I freaking love Ant-Man.
I thought they killed a lot of people. I thought that maybe even like Hawkeye had died. I thought Ant-Man, Hulk. Like
that would have been a crazy way to do it. Like it would have been a very anticlimactic.
Oh my
in a way.
gosh! But speaking of this whole section, I have one of my favorite scenes of all time in a Marvel movie. Is Thor standing there, and then Captain America and Iron Man come up and we're like, "What has he been doing?" And he's like, "Just sitting there." And then he's like,
"Oh yeah,
let's kill him for real this time." And it shows
all three of the
Thor,
main ones.
Thor goes
out.
like this, goes, and all of a sudden his beard goes.
He turns into like a Viking.
And he's like,
He gets he gets Mjolnir back.
Yeah,
and
oh dude, there's so many moments we gotta talk about here because
Stormbreaker.
So when Thor goes back to talk to his mom, right
he
before
goes to get the
right
reality
before
stuff.
he leaves, he's just and Rocket's like, "Okay, we're heading back now, Thor," and Thor's just like, "Wait."
Holds
And then
out
his mom's
hand.
like,
He just goes like this.
his
He's
mom's just like, sometimes it takes a minute.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, boom, and he gets it. And
Dude,
He's like, I'm still worthy.
One of the biggest surprises to me for this entire
Oh.
movie was the fact that they kept Thor fat the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Dude,
Even
it's
at the very
crazy.
end,
I thought
it
it
was
was
just
super cool.
I'm so glad because I like, how could he? I was
Yeah.
gonna hate it. I was gonna be like, if they made him,
If they make him like, I thought they were gonna do a thing where they have like a quick montage sequence where it shows him like working out or something, and then for the end fight he was gonna be all fit.
Rocky.
Yeah. I really thought it was gonna be something like that. But
But
I think it's so cool that they made him look like this big Viking guy
he
for the fight
seemed
with
very.
Thanos.
There's a Viking guy on the Thor movies.
It's like the guy that looks like Gimli, kind of.
Yeah, the guy who kind of he's the bigger Gimli guy though.
Uh-huh.
He reminds me. It looks like that.
Yeah, with
and
the
I love
beard.
it because it's gonna be perfect if Thor.
Is
we
fat for
hope,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
For Guardians of
I
the Galaxy,
hope so.
because
Oh, yeah.
him and Drax will be so comedic.
Well,
with
and him
Quill
and Quill, like him and
Oh,
Star
and
Lord.
Quill's in better shape now, too.
Uh-huh.
So they'll be like, now you're a man.
Hold it against him. Yeah, that'd be great, dude.
Now
I really.
you're a man, Quill. That's a boy.
He's a dude. You're
He's
a
a
dude.
Well, and Nebula, as we know, has replaced Gamora.
Well, not
right
replaced,
now. Well,
but
as
yeah.
of right now, she's kind of the one of the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't say she's replaced her.
Guardians
No.
3 is going to be about getting Gamora.
Oh, well, 100%.
I think so,
yeah.
too.
And I think, like, once they get her, like, trying to convince her, I just hope they don't pull a Fast and Furious and she's like, I remember everything. I hope they...
I don't know, dude. That was one of the things. There's so much to talk about in this movie, but I started tearing up on the moment when Star Lord and Gamora were reunited. But right away, I was like, oh frick, she's not gonna know
remember
him. And like
I
that
remember, I thought that
sucks for Star Lord. And like going forward,
that
he's gonna have to
romantic-
like try to like
Woo her again.
remind her like, hey, we loved each other. This sucks that I have to do this again. You have no idea. You probably just think I'm a big loser.
That's gonna way suck, yeah.
Because like it's like
that's just my life.
There's a big...
Suck it up, Quill.
There's a big plot hole that bothers me, though, that I wish they would kind of close up, which is the time travel thing in general. It shows that, obviously, Gamora can survive in this new timeline, right? She's in their timeline now. Even though she was from a different one, why can't they just do the same thing? Go back in time and get Iron Man, and then get Black Widow.
Well,
go and take them from a
As
different
long as
one.
time travel, they can do anything they want.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what it almost bothers me because, like, I feel like if that's something that is just something they don't want us to think about.
Yeah.
Like, you could theoretically go back and grab.
I'm
Iron
sure
Man
they're gonna
and
use
Black Widow.
I'm sure they're gonna use it again. The thing is, Black Widow I think is dead for the same reason we thought Gamora was dead. I think the Gamora of that timeline or whatever you want to say is dead.
Well, yeah, she is
dead, right?
The
And then
real Gamora.
So I
is
think
dead.
so. I
The
think
second
the real.
Gamora's
I
alive.
think the real Black Widow is.
Well,
dead,
she is.
you know?
Yeah.
If
What
they
I'm
went
saying
back,
is they
they'd
could
have
go
to-
back
yeah,
in time
They'd have to grab some
to right
other
before
version.
she died and grab her.
I don't think they could because they wouldn't have gotten the Soul Stone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it would affect a different timeline.
But they they don't want to F at a certain time.
But that's
like
the thing.
F you.
That's
You're
what
in the
I'm saying,
crap
is they
timeline.
kind of did that with one of the timelines because Gamora's not there. In one of the
There's
alternate
only one
timelines, there's no
timeline we
Gamora.
want to succeed, though. Remember that, guys. There's only one that succeeds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's
only
what-
one
that's what-
that succeeds.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But
Which is
that's
one
the
that
thing
we're
is,
living
I think for sure they'll use the time travel thing again for specifically like Gamora. But at some point, I feel like they need to somehow act like come up with some sort of MacGuffin, something stupid that bans time travel. Because otherwise, from now on, for the next 10 years of MCU, we could just be like, oh, okay, they can just time travel to get that person.
That's why I hope
You
they
know?
almost say like.
Oh, Yondu's back.
Yeah,
I hope
Yondu's
they
back, everyone's
explain
back.
it in like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 when they get Gamora. Maybe she has a moment where she's like, I'm like glitching or something because I'm not supposed to be in this timeline, or something happens where they can't just go back and grab somebody and take it to their timeline.
Yeah.
Because like it bothers me that they could theoretically do that with Iron Man. So it's like, why even be sad?
Iron Man, I think, is the one that I think it makes sense why he can't, because he was the one that did the Thanos.
Well,
thing.
right. That's what I mean. Is like, but whether they like it or not, they could theoretically screw up another timeline to get Iron Man back.
Well, I mean, theoretically, they could do anything they want in this universe. That's kind of the problem with the time travel thing in general. But if you imagine it from the sense of like, well, the snapper or whatever can't be saved if he chose that fate or
Which
whatever.
I think you're right about the one fate, right? Because one of the biggest things is Doctor Strange says the only one we live. And
Yeah,
I love
and
when
it has
he-
to be because Iron
He
Man
looks
dies
to Iron Man and
and
he's
gives
like,
the one finger. I knew right in that moment. I'm like,
I was like,
Tony's dead.
I know what he has to do.
I was like, no, Tony's dead. I started crying in that moment. I was like,
Yeah.
frick, here we go. We're about to witness the death of Tony Stark. 10 years of
well, yeah,
this guy being
I figured that Iron Man was gonna have to sacrifice himself. You know, I kind of figured that they would kill Iron Man. It was in our predictions. I think we all mentioned that Iron Man
Oh yeah, I mean it was a popular prediction.
It's because of his contract.
Even from the beginning of the movie, they kind of hinted at it with him being sick and.
And he's been in the universe for so long. It's like if you're gonna kill someone and get emotions out of it,
oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and at this point, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, Robert Downey Jr. for his roles in the Avengers is the highest paid actor of all time. Like he makes the most money per movie than any other actor for any movie ever.
So which maybe they can make with all that money though. Maybe they can make more of these movies with multiple characters.
Yeah, exactly. Like it opens up their budget for sure. I mean, not that they have a massive budget. It's not too big of an issue, but still.
Marvel.
When I think as far as reactions go, since we're talking about reactions. Iron Man's death was so tear-jerking. I mean, I was bawling. Yeah. Like, what made me cry even more is they made, when Pepper Potts and everybody was saying goodbye to him when he was dying, they had no music playing at first, which I loved because you could hear people crying. You could hear, like, the emotions of the characters, and hearing people cry made me cry even more. Yeah. Like, I could hear people in the theater behind me,
I appreciated our theater, too, because it was dead silent. I'm so glad there wasn't somebody being...
Or a baby.
Jerk, or, like... Yeah,
there was not a baby crying. There was... I think we got the best theater we could possibly.
I think we possibly
did. Crazy.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, going back a little bit, let's kind of go back to where we were with Black Widow. So Black Widow died, and then what happens from there? I can't even remember.
So much that happens. Then right after it shows Clint gets the Power Stone, it shows them come back through time, and it shows them all in the circle, and they're like, "Did we actually pull this off?" And then they're like, "Clint, where's Natasha?" And he falls to his knees, and then he's just sitting there, and everybody.
I really want to talk in the flashback though. Before, like during the time travels, we got to talk about those a bit more because there was multiple. I loved the one with freaking Peter Quill as Star-Lord dancing to "Come and Get Your Love," and then it shows. It's one of those moments where we talk about this all the time as a joke, where it's like when a movie is playing a song over the top and a character singing along. In reality, are they just hearing it themselves? Because it's not playing like a great song and dancing. Right. So it's this moment where all of a sudden it cuts to him and he's just singing it. He's dancing like, "Come and get your love."
And then it shows freaking Iron
Rhodey.
And he's like, "Come and."
That moment was great. I loved that.
I loved that
whole section. And I actually... One thing with this movie that we haven't brought up is I was shocked how much Nebula was in this movie and how big of a role she played.
Well, and it made me, I don't know why, but it made me realize she's not as annoying as I used to think.
Yeah, I actually
because I used to hate Nebula.
Me too.
I thought she was so annoying as a character. I thought she didn't really need to be in the shows.
They also cooled it down with the voice, I think. Because like Karen Gillan, I think is her name, is a really great actress. And she was in Jumanji. She's the redhead. She's a really good actress. And I feel like the role she's been playing as Nebula before has just been kind of like, "I'm Nebula, I'm robot, bad girl.
I hate you, Gamora. I'm gonna
like it was just kind of like...
She was much more calm.
Yeah, this one she talked and like... I don't know, there was something about her that I actually started...
They definitely developed her character a lot more to where I actually felt bad for her. And I was like,
oh yeah.
Dude, like, poor Nebula, like, she's been treated so bad. And
and you can understand why she now has made the decisions she's made.
And even why she betrayed them, theoretically, the other Gamora, or the other Nebula betrayed a second time because she heard Thanos say, "Thank you, daughter. I underestimated you." And then she's like, "I love you, father," and then like helped him out.
Yeah, and then what is another one of the timelines? Because
the Avengers 1 timeline. We haven't talked about that.
Oh yeah, there was some great moments with the.
So they jump back.
I loved.
Well, so first of all, they jump back, and before it even shows, it shows the original scene where it shows them all like dun 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 dun, and then it pans away and it shows them all appear. Like, and then it does that Hulk scene where he's like doing the whatever.
I love that we got to see. There's the classic shot in the first Avengers when Hawkeye points his bow and arrow at Loki,
but from a different view.
And it's straight on camera angle in the first one. I love that they showed it from behind. You got to see.
And then it's funny because then it shows what they say after that, and it's Iron Man like, "Can we stop posing now? Can we stop superhero posing?" Sorry, I didn't mean to speak on you.
Yeah.
He's like, "Can we stop superhero posing now and actually get some work done or something?"
Yeah. And then we get Ant-Man trying to get into the Tesseract.
Right. But then there's also a sick scene where Captain America enters the elevator with Hydra or S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh my god!
And he's sitting there.
This was such another great
moment. I actually had a question. I didn't understand it. He's like, "Hell, Hydra." I didn't understand.
So Hasten,
really?
In Captain America 2: Winter Soldier, they find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. they've been working for this whole time was Hydra.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've watched it all.
In the comics. Captain America hails Hydra.
Well, no, not in one of the versions.
In one of the versions of the comics,
in one of the latest, I think it happened like 3 or 4 years ago, during the time when Winter Soldier was going on. There was this comic run where in the new Captain America comics, he was actually a Hydra soldier in hiding. It was like this big reveal, and people were like, a lot of people were up in arms about it. Like, what the frick? How dare you make Captain America an actual Hydra operative? And so it was
kind of like a
it was a nod at that. It was like a total fan service thing.
And that's why everyone freaked out.
Yeah, because he turned and actually said it.
He's in the elevator, and then they're like, Cap, we can't give it to you. And he's like, just trust me. And he's like, Hell Hydra. And everyone's like, yeah!
So great. That was a meme that died pretty quick, too, but it was pretty funny at the time. You guys remember?
Oh, the Hell Hydra one.
Like whenever people were whispering to each other, people would just Hell Hydra.
Like the Obama and who was it?
Somebody.
The other president. They like he like leaned.
Yeah, they're like, and he's like Hell Hydra.
I love those.
Yeah. Biden, he's running.
Biden, yeah.
Yeah, there was in that scene too. We got Frank Grillo, the guy who's on Purge Anarchy. He's Crossbones, or right? That's his name?
Yeah. The guy who's the Hydra guy.
Beginning of Civil War, I think it is. He's like in the robot outfit. Not robot, but he's like in a bunch of armor.
I remember.
No, is it? What is it?
I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
It's Crossbones,
it was cool,
something.
Oh, and then another huge reveal. I totally forgot that they got him back. Robert Redford comes back as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Secretary.
Mm-hmm. The Secretary of S.H.I.E.L.D. because... And that's huge because I don't know if you guys heard, but Robert Redford like retired from acting last year.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, last year he officially announced like he's like, I'm done acting. And so
besides Endgame,
a big psych.
Because they paid me a lot.
Unless they recorded this before he announced that, but still, like
I'm sure they offered him a lot of money.
They probably just paid him a ton. They were just like, hey, we will give you
$60 million,
$80 million to come just do this 5-second role because Robert Redford's a huge actor.
Yeah,
and he founded Sundance, so it was just cool to see him back like in this because for all we know, that's his last role. That'd
be sick. I mean, that'd be a big one to go out on.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But we get a lot of cool extra scenes that were part of Avengers 1, but not really, kind of like behind the scenes ones, where they all gather in the elevator, like they're all like joking around, almost like it's a blooper reel or behind the scenes, and then they're like, "Whoa, buddy, max capacity or whatever," and then Hulk is like, "Stairs, I hate the stairs," and he's like going down.
Oh yeah, and then like it cuts in the middle of the battle. He's like. And it's just Hulk walking down so many stairs.
Yeah, in the middle of like a high action battle, it cuts to Hulk and he's walking down the stairs and he's like,
Hulk would never walk down stairs. He'd just jump out the building.
Yeah,
for real.
And then Tony Stark's about to go
with the Tesseract.
With the Tesseract like the stairs, and Hulk's just like, I hate stairs,
knocks him out.
Yeah. And then they lose the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the great moment too of Loki getting the Tesseract and disappearing, which we were talking about. But then also.
Wonder if that's what the series will be about. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
See,
like
that's
an alternate timeline.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I'm saying it'll either be a prequel or during that timeline.
Yeah, if it's an alternate timeline kind of deal, that'd be cool. Is there anything else we're missing in the time travel stuff? Is there another storyline that we're missing?
Well, so Hawkeye and them go to whatever to get the Soul Stone, and then they go to
what the frick is the real Hulk doing in this one? Because he goes into that same
New York goes timeline. With New York. Remember, he's with the Sorceress Supreme.
Oh, that's right.
So,
okay,
yeah,
that's
so Hulk goes up and finds the Sorceress Supreme, who we find out
Tilda Swinton's
was fighting with the Avengers secretly from her tower, shooting aliens.
Yeah, I love
which is such a cool
when they
nod.
Put in stuff like that.
I love when they add stuff like that.
Because it's like, oh, it builds the world. It's like, oh, that's what's going on at the same time.
Because it's like, because you can think about like, what was the sorcerers doing during this time? So they were helping, and I'm glad that they said like, oh, Doctor Strange is over there performing surgery.
Yeah, because he wasn't a doctor at the time. Yeah.
And it kind of does. It's a lot of.
You're 5 years early, and she already knew.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
because, I love that,
and I love that too because then it shows like, yeah, she's magic.
Yeah, he's like, I'm looking for Doctor Strange. She's like, you're 5 years.
I
too
love
soon
that,
or something, like too early. I love that she knew that already. It shows that she's super powerful.
Yeah, and so basically they were kind of. It was a lot of story with them. It wasn't a lot of other stuff, but I did like they explained the timeline thing for me.
I like that they did the same shot of Doctor Strange too, where he hits him out of his body.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, and I liked too because like she shows basically the timeline to explain a lot of stuff, so there wasn't a lot of plot holes with like the why they had to return the Infinity Stones to certain spots and stuff like that.
There was a lot of exposition with
a lot of exposition. Exactly. Then they all meet up. She gives him this time stone because she trusts him because he says like, "Oh, Doctor Strange purposely gave it to
him." Yeah, and she's like, "If Doctor Strange said that, he's
the best
supposed to be the best of us," or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But then we did miss something because in when Rhodey and Nebula go to the place. They get Peter Quill. They grab the Power Stone, and Nebula gets hacked by herself, right? Because they're in the same universe now. Mm-hmm. They're linked on the same network.
This is big. I'm glad you remembered this.
This is really integral.
This
is where Thanos comes back into the story.
This is where Thanos finds out about everything
because
going on.
it shows Thanos come back from like a battle. He's got blood all over his blade, and he's talking with Gamora and Nebula, and also Nebula gets hacked right before they're about to go down to the planet, and it's Rhodey talking to Nebula and stuff, and this is where Thanos starts realizing, okay, I succeeded in the future, and now they're trying to reverse it. So this is when Thanos is just this freaking amazing, great mind. Well, he figures it out.
This is great too because it would have been a totally different movie if Thanos hadn't seen this because he would have no idea.
And they would have just got the stones and done it.
Yeah, he just kept on with his plan.
And they would have just got the stones.
They would have just won and
it would have only been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
exactly. And the only person would have been Black Widow dead, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like, all right, sorry,
everyone's back. But yeah, like so it shows Thanos kind of figure it out, and it's almost good for him because now they never see it coming. Right? Because the Avengers don't know that Thanos knows. Because remember, Nebula's trying to say to them, Thanos knows, but she can't say it before she gets caught. And so it's really hard with the timelines to explain the characters, but not the first Nebula, but the second Nebula, the bad Nebula, takes Nebula's head thing off and replaces it with her
yellow small piece.
Yeah, to trick the Avengers.
Trick them, yeah. This is big.
So she comes back with them when they all come back to the circle, and they're like, oh, we did it, whatever. And while they're all putting the Infinity Gauntlet on and doing the Hulk thing and whatever and trying to decide, she's messing with the time machine to get Thanos there. And so once she does, while they're busy doing all the hectic stuff, Thanos' ship comes flying through the time machine, and secretly they have no clue.
Yeah,
and so
they couldn't hear because we forgot to mention Hulk is
screaming his balls out.
They're trying to get him to do the snap.
Yeah,
which is
he can't barely even put his fingers together.
I think it was a smart decision for them to use Hulk to do that too.
I do too.
Because obviously it was going to be Hulk or Thor, right?
Yeah, because how powerful they are.
Yeah, and then it ended up going Hulk, and then this is where we essentially get to the final battle sequence,
right?
Because Thanos comes out of the ship.
It's mostly gamma radiation too.
Yeah, so Hulk, he's like, I was made for this, which is sick. I love that.
Yeah, and then we get
real quick. Another thing we forgot to mention is I guess this comes later. So yeah, keep going. So anyway, Thanos shoots the building, right?
Well, wait, I feel like there is something we're missing, but whatever. I think there's another big scene.
It's the hammer
scene. Yeah,
but that's
I just think it's something important. But I'm thinking, never mind. Yeah, then we get the scene of Ant-Man looking out the window, blah, blah, blah. Like, we did it, guys, because they reversed the time. And then, boom, Thanos shoots, or Nebula, one of them, Thanos in the ship. They shoot
Thanos shoots with his ship the building. Yeah. Destroys it, like freaking
And rubble. Then we get to the part, basically, where we were talking, Nebula which I'm so glad they did
because Nebula's still in the building. Yeah. Nebula's in the building with them.
She probably gives the command.
Thanos, from the above, shoots with his ship.
I swear Nebula shot it, but I could be wrong, I guess.
Yeah, Nebula was down there.
No, so Nebula messed with the time machine. She wasn't in the ship. Because she messed with the time machine, the ship came flying out of the time machine, up into the air, and then shot the building.
Yeah.
And then Thanos came down. Mm-hmm. Nebula was still down there the entire time trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet from him.
Moving into the final battle sequence, though, which was epic. This final 30 minutes or whatever it was nuts.
Yeah. So much happened.
I'm so glad they had Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man be the three to go down and take on Thanos for
initially they were the only ones fighting.
The three original solo movie characters. We get Thor doing the awesome transforms into the Viking kind of deal
with both Stormbreaker and
Mjolnir. And then they go down and Thanos is just chilling.
We get Iron Man and Thor and all of them working together where Iron Man has this new thing to his suit where if he gets shocked by Thor, it supercharges
that was a sick shot.
And then we get another sick moment where Thanos, it basically shows how powerful Thanos is. Because Thanos is wiping the floor with all three of them individually. Mm-hmm. He's beating them to a pulp. And then he kind of destroys Thor and Iron Man. And we see Captain America freaking get Mjolnir.
Well, he's worried. Doesn't that come later, though?
Well, no. So what happens is Thanos is beating Thor to a pulp. Like, doom, doom. And then Thor's sitting there trying to summon Mjolnir. Yeah. And we see Mjolnir come. And so we're like, oh, yay.
Well, so this
then it goes right past Thor.
This is one of the greatest moments in the movie, for sure. Everyone lost their mind. But yeah, I thought for a second, he was beating Thor senseless. For a second, I was going to die. I was like, is he going to kill Thor? And then we see Mjolnir shaking, and it goes past Thor. Him, though.
It hits Thanos, and then it goes past Thor.
And so I was super confused because I was like, oh, he missed and Thanos was going to kill him anyway.
Uh-huh.
And then, but all of a sudden, Captain America catches it. One of the greatest fan service moments
and
ever.
people flip their minds. Like, it is crazy.
Going back to
That
nodding
whole list
to the
that we were
Age of
watching the
Ultron
other day
moment.
that was like top 10 movie superhero
Entrances,
moments.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it'll be that.
It's over now.
But yeah, like
was
you were
amazing.
saying, nodding to Age of
Nodding
Ultron.
to Age of Ultron when Captain America is able
Nudges
to
it.
nudge Thor's hammer ever so slightly. I love that you pointed out when he's just like, I do it. He yells, I do it. Because Captain America is worthy, which makes sense. You know?
It does.
It's
It
like-
is, yeah. It does.
I think it's a great moment for Captain America
If anyone's
too. Because,
worthy, it's him.
Exactly. That's
Him
what I
or
was going to
Stark.
say.
Yeah, those three definitely. I think if it was a different universe, I think Iron Man definitely could have lifted it up too, probably.
The thing is, too, is like, it depends on what your version of the worthy means. But for me, it's like Captain America embodies that word of
strength.
worthy.
Not
like,
just physical, but
yeah,
mentally.
like just mental, like he,
leadership.
over Iron Man too. I
yeah.
just think like yes, he is the one worthy to wield that hammer. If anyone else, you know.
Yeah.
That moment was so cool, dude.
Oh, it was so
This whole next 30 minutes is
well, and so
insane.
and then he goes to face Thanos, and he's kind of still getting beat to a pulp with Mjolnir.
No, he is destroying.
Well, he
him
is.
with
He
Mjolnir
is. He's
first.
taking off his armor, but then Thanos breaks freaking the shield. He gets his blade, and he's like cutting through it to where it's just
There's
half
a
of his
solid
shield.
minute, though,
Yeah.
minute and a half,
Where he's
where,
beating Thanos.
where Captain America
Yeah.
absolutely dominates
It's
Thanos.
awesome.
Yeah,
And it's just like, it just keeps going, too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Dude, the theater was going.
oh my
nuts.
gosh, dude.
There was it just kept going with you.
And
Yeah,
he
it
was having
like,
the
boom,
sickest
boom,
freaking
boom.
combos. He'd like throw his shield and then throw
Dude,
Mjolnir
that was
at his
cool,
shield
yeah,
and
throw
he'd
it-
go,
go, go,
go, go, go.
and he'd catch them both and then hit Mjolnir on the shield and he would create like a chain reaction.
Dude, that was such a dope.
He'd like he summoned. Remember when he summoned the electricity?
Yeah.
and then brought the electricity down like a lightning
Oh my
strike
God.
on
Thanos.
Thanos.
that
Oh my
was
god.
so cool. Oh my gosh.
And then
But
and
then we get the grand reveal, which is one
Wait,
of the
not
biggest
yet.
moments. No,
Because
yeah, because he
it-
gets beat down by
wait,
Thanos.
but then while he's beating down Thanos, it cuts to Hawkeye.
well, that was even before this.
Yeah,
Before he gets Mjolnir.
Hawkeye
was
basically
happening.
finds the Infinity Gauntlet and is running from a bunch of Thanos' minions, like the crawly guys.
Yeah, basically Hawkeye.
Basically with the Infinity Gauntlet, it's like an Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet, and basically it's just being passed between a ton of adventures.
Yeah,
Tons, yeah. And
Starts out with Hawkeye.
Starts out with Hawkeye, and he's kind of getting through everything, and he runs into Nebula, who tricks him, takes it, and she's like,
Yeah, there's
Father,
a
I
whole
have
Nebula
it.
betrayal moment. They kill the original.
And then isn't that
Nebula,
when Spider-Man
or
comes in,
Nebula.
right?
Well, no, not
no,
yet.
not
so,
yet. So then we get-
then
we get
Gamora
the-
comes in, and then Nebula, and then they kill original Nebula.
Well, then
or old Nebula.
Captain America gets beaten down by Thanos.
Right.
And then we get the awesome moment where all of a sudden he gets the really cool shot with the sunset, and
all of a
you're
sudden,
sitting there and it's just dead quiet, and all of a sudden you just hear on the intercom, on your left, or Cap, you there? And then he starts
And it's
smiling.
a
He's
big,
like,
long pause,
on
and
your
he's like-
left, and it just slowly you just see the Doctor Strange portal open,
And immediately everyone's like,
and then out comes Black Panther
With everybody.
with Michonne and is it Shuri? I think.
Sure, yeah.
And
Which
then-
we learned that she did die then.
Yeah,
She did
and
get-
then behind them out comes Spider-Man swinging, someone else.
No, next it
And then-
shows.
Then there's another portal that opens with Doctor
Lang
Strange,
and
Drax, and
the whole Guardians crew.
All the Guardians,
And then it
crew.
shows all the sorcerers come out with Ping Pong, whatever his name is.
Wait,
Wong?
yeah,
Wong.
wait.
Wong.
I was like, ping pong?
Ping pong.
Wong, wing wong.
It's like that is not even
That's
close.
so
to his name.
racist. No, but yeah, he comes out, and it, basically, this is everybody who's ever been in the MCU comes out. Everybody who's not dead.
Literally,
even
everyone.
people who are
Yeah.
dead.
Pepper Potts comes out.
Pepper.
Dude,
oh,
what
that's
did
a
you guys
big
think-
reveal.
what did you guys
Pepper
think?
Potts
This
comes
is
out
a
with
huge
this
reveal.
Iron Man suit
So
on.
Pepper, it's so funny, dude, because I was giggling at this moment because we totally happened to kind of talk about this in our predictions by accident. Because remember we were like, isn't it weird that in Iron Man 3 they gave Gwyneth Paltrow powers and we didn't even like think about it? And then all of a sudden in this one she's one of the freaking Avengers,
Yeah.
which is like, what the frick?
Well,
Like,
and
out of
it's a
nowhere.
nod to Iron Man saying originally in the movie, he's talking to his daughter, and he's like, "Your mom never wears anything I buy her." And then it shows
yeah.
her wearing the suit he made for
That's
her.
a good little foreshadow there.
And Gracie didn't realize. My girlfriend didn't realize it was Gwyneth Paltrow. She's like, "Who's this girl in the Iron Man suit?" And I'm like,
I'll
Pepper
admit
Potts.
at first I didn't quite recognize her either, and I was a little confused. For a
I
second,
thought it was.
Friday.
I can't remember.
no, for a second I thought it was his daughter. I thought it was his daughter from an alternate timeline when she's older, and I was like, "Whoa, what the?"
They're just making it
frick?
even
I'm
more
like,
confusing.
What is happening? And then I was like, "Oh wait, no, that's Pepper Potts." Okay,
I mean, I recognized her immediately. I think they didn't show a very good. It showed her face, and it was like a squish.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, who? That's why I was confused. I was like, who is that?
So we basically get
that is
everybody.
a big reveal, though.
Yeah, we basically get everybody, and then like we said, Gwyneth Paltrow in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think.
So then we get just the awesome charge shot, and we get the great line of Captain America, the classic line, obviously. Avengers assemble, and then boom, they all start charging. There's the big, and then this is where the clash happens. Things get nuts. Everyone's fighting.
So much is happening. I can't even
recall.
No,
it.
yeah. The gauntlet's getting tossed around
because Thanos is trying to get it.
Spider-Man's swinging around. Captain Marvel. Oh, the big scene with all the female characters.
Oh yeah, that was actually really.
Oh yeah,
so that one was cool. It was better than Infinity War for sure,
dude.
Because it pulled everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Did you look at Mantis though?
Mantis was there.
She looked so uncomfortable when she was like walking with all the girls. She was like,
well, I will say,
really?
You got to say real quick before that, a big reveals. While they're getting the Avengers are getting pooped on, right? Because Spider-Man's about to die holding the gauntlet, and then all of a sudden the guns stop shooting and they shoot above, and everyone's like, "What are they shooting at?"
Suit activate, instant kill.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's really funny. And in my opinion, for some reason, I thought it was going to be current universe Thanos' army. Like they were shooting opposite.
It's funny.
And then it ended up being Captain Marvel, and she shoots through Star Wars style through the ship, like.
Yeah, well, real fast too. We were talking. I actually think the female shot of all the
that's
female
after
heroes. Yeah, I know, but in that shot, I actually thought the lineup and the way that shot was framed was even cooler than the main shot with all of them, because it was what we were kind of wanting for the. It showed all of them like right there. I was like, I wish they did that with everyone.
Well, and I was gonna say like I love that shot too, and I agree. I think it's way better than Infinity Wars because Infinity War it's just Scarlett Johansson, Scarlet Witch, and
then the alien girl.
And then Michonne. But it's funny
because
this one's everyone.
Thanos' daughter.
Yeah, this one's everyone. But it was funny because you mentioned Mantis. I thought of Michonne. Because it shows everybody using their powers, and then it shows Michonne just stab one alien. She stabs one alien.
I saw Mantis, and I was like, she looks so awkward.
What did she? What did she?
I'm sure Mantis didn't.
Remember, she can control minds.
Well, I know. I'm saying, what did she do in that shot though?
I don't think it showed.
That's why I didn't want to rewatch this. I want to be able to like pause
because
like what the freak happened. Because
it goes so fast. You just see Captain Marvel just like f someone.
They could have made this movie 3.5 hours. Almost 4 hours.
Well, and I was gonna say, I leaned over my girlfriend. I'm like, she didn't even need the help. Captain Marvel could have just
boom.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
These are all
she has help.
What are they called? Chitauri.
The Chitauri, yeah.
Chitauri, yeah.
Thanos' army.
It's like he can just fly.
They're literally insects. She's just like, yeah. She pretty much does that after.
She doesn't need the help of a spear.
Yeah, she waits 1 second while she lets the girls do their thing, and then she just flies through.
Yeah, and then
which real quick, I love that it shows that she's not invincible. Because she almost gets to the atomizer, and Thanos throws his spear and destroys it.
Yeah, which, speaking of getting to, also it shows she's not like all powerful. We get the awesome moment where finally Thanos is. This is next, right?
Yeah,
like,
so it's right after he destroys
so much happens, but
all the Avengers are trying to punch him, and then she comes up and is actually fighting him, and he just grabs her arm and chucks her, and she hits a rock.
Well, and then at one point he's about to snap. He gets right after that he's about to snap, and then Captain Marvel flies up, stops him from snapping, and then I love this moment because I was thinking in that moment, I'm like, great. Here's the thing: Captain Marvel saves everything, of course.
But he doesn't.
What he does, he pulls out the Power Stone or one of the stones.
Oh, and he puts it on his other hand.
And he puts it in his other hand and punches her. And I was like, that was a dope move.
That was way
That was a really cool move.
Because then he puts it back on, and before
he has to repower. This is when Iron Man gets the thing, right?
Yeah. So look, he
has to repower when he puts the stone back in the gauntlet. He goes then Iron Man comes over, fights him. Well, Iron Man gets the crap punched out of him.
So right before that, it shows Thanos while he's powering up. It shows Iron Man like, and then he looks over at Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange goes. One.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man...
Speaking of real fast, before that, like, there's so many little moments in this that I'm like, I want to go back and watch because I'm like, what the heck were they doing? Because Doctor Strange the entire time is holding up like a waterfall or something.
Yeah,
like,
so what happens is...
like,
Thanos' ship shoots and breaks the dam.
Okay.
And water starts pouring and it's going to drown everyone.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange goes flying up, and it's not just him. It's all the sorcerers behind him. Are like, they're making it to where it's not going to...
They're kind of OP.
Yeah, with
Doctor Strange too.
Me too. Dope, dude. Then we get the grand freaking finale moment.
So Thanos goes to snap again, right? He's like, and then Iron Man grabs it and secretly rips the stones off. and then Thanos does this.
But what the people see is Thanos just absolutely destroys him.
Yeah.
And then Thanos lifts up his arm, snaps,
but takes forever. Which I was like, dude, snap! If it was really snap, and then he does, and nothing happens.
And nothing happens, and then it cuts over to Iron Man.
Well, he goes like this, and then there's none in there.
Well, yeah. Well, and then Iron Man turns his hand, and we see the Infinity Stones
go
into it. And then we have Thanos saying the line, he's like, I am inevitable, or something like that, right? Doesn't he say it right there? And then...
Or no, yeah, it was like a flash.
And then Iron Man's like, I am
Iron Man. Yeah, I think he says it in that moment because he's still like, I am inevitable. Like, I'm still going to win, or something.
Yeah, he like looks and he's like, I'm inevitable, or something.
Yeah, and then something like that. But then Iron Man's like, I am, and then he waits forever, and then he's just Iron Man. And then snaps, and then we get the flash... And Iron Man dies.
Oh no! And we get the flash, and then we show all the enemies
disappear. Oh, and we get Thanos.
We have a really dope Thanos death, where it reminds me as a callback to Voldemort for me.
Yeah,
it's a long disintegration, and it shows Thanos almost accept defeat. Dude, he sits down and he's like,
"Dude, when it happened, I was like." Is it just going to become a classic thing for franchise movies to kill their villain by dusting them? Mm-hmm. Because Harry Potter did it too, and it looks just like he just disintegrates slowly.
It's a lot slower than any of the other villains too, because all of Thanos' stuff is like quickly disintegrating, and then Thanos.
So, Hasten, I know you were mentioning on this part, you were a little disappointed that he was dusted, right?
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the worst decision I could have made.
You wanted more of like them to all kill him together.
I didn't even, maybe not even kill him. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what else I would have wanted. I'm just...
Yeah, I don't know either. I think... I liked that it was a dusting just because it
does bring like a... we got it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a...
Like, we did what... Taste your own medicine.
Exactly. It takes your own... Flip the switch, on him.
Yeah. Which this... I just realized
Like, what if Iron Man just straight up would have killed him? Like,
that would have been cool.
Or, I don't know.
I think
maybe them stab each other, kind of like a
it made more sense for it to be this way. Reverse the snap on them. Like, how do you like it,
And the snap kills Iron Man.
To my knowledge, which I think you guys think the same, it seems like the Infinity Gauntlets are almost like a wishing system, where you kind of make a wish and then snap.
Essentially,
because that's what Hulk did. He was basically... Because I was like, if you snapped again, wouldn't it just defeat another half of the population? Well, so it does seem like it's almost like a wish.
Yeah, it is. And it was funny because at first, when Hulk is going to do it, it was kind of funny because Captain America's just like, just remember everyone that disappeared and snap. And I was like, what? Like, how is he can't remember the people that he didn't know that disappeared?
Yeah.
Like,
he probably just wished.
That's one of those things you just have to like.
He probably just wished to reverse Thanos.
Yeah, reverse exactly. Yeah. But like in that moment, I was like, he's not gonna remember.
Yeah. So Iron Man must have wished to destroy Thanos and all of his army, and he did. Which I just realized this now, which kind of bothers me because. Once again, with the whole time machine thing, I love that they introduced this time thing. It made the movie much more interesting, but it kind of proves that the Power Stones of Thanos are never truly dead. Because Thanos could always come back through time, like, somehow, and then go back in time and get the stones again and do the same thing.
Dude, I wonder if 20 years from now, we're on phase 8 of the MCU, and they bring back
Iron Man's
Thanos for the next, like, that 10-year thing ending, because I'm imagining their strategy here is going like every 10 years. So like we just had the first 10 years, and they called it the Infinity Saga, right? Yeah. I wonder there's gonna be this next one.
I think it's gonna be the Galaxy,
and they're gonna call it something else, the blah 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 saga.
Galactus.
Yeah,
Doctor Doom.
I think
like that.
I hope it's Galactus, because Galactus is the next step.
And then I wonder if like the third one,
as far as power, because Doctor Doom isn't as powerful as Galactus. I think he's pretty powerful, but he's not.
Yeah, and then I wonder if like the third saga is going to be the return of Thanos or something like that. One day, like that would be crazy. Isn't it crazy just to think though, like they could still be making these movies 20 years from now?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised honestly.
I do want to talk about that a little bit, but anyway, let's get back to Iron Man dies.
Anyway,
sad, horrible moment. I mean, it's a great moment.
It's a great moment, but yeah, it's sad. He's kind of like just like Thanos. His whole half is like messed up and destroyed and.
Then we kind of just fade to black.
It shows everybody kind of mourning him and saying goodbye.
And then we fade to black and we get this great Tony Stark narration talking of when he's dead. Like, remember he's in the hologram or whatever. And he's just talking to like his kid, and there's that really emotional part where he looks at his kid and he's like, I love you 3000.
I love you 3000. I was like,
oh my gosh. I loved that so much. And then
we got to see that Happy didn't die. Happy's
Happy's alive. I mean, everyone was back at that point though.
Well,
even
yeah,
if
but
he
Happy
was
didn't
snapped.
like die. Like in like a building explosion.
Like, yeah, he's just killed off screen. It's like,
Well, think about it.
you
Like
know,
there's
Happy
so
just
many buildings
murdered.
being blown up and destroyed.
That was another thing that you kind of have to just suspend your disbelief on, because like the battlefield they were on, I'm like, how big is this battlefield go? Like, is this just like all of almost?
Or like, how did
this
the
area?
human characters not die in a building being collapsed on them?
Yeah,
like
well,
Ant-Man is totally fine.
When the building gets destroyed.
Well, the Avengers
Ant-Man's,
building
I
is
understand.
kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, what I mean is though, like, what he's trying to say is like. Ant-Man, I think, made sense. He shrunk himself or something.
But Hawkeye is
I was
human.
like, how the F did Hawkeye
Like the
survive
building
that?
didn't collapse. It perfectly like preserved him, and he's not even has a scratch.
Yeah,
on
and
him.
he just
like,
gets up and he's like, oh man, all right, there's the main thing.
Let's
Let's
go.
How convenient for me.
Yeah.
And all my arrows are intact, and nothing's pierced me. I have a broken arm or anything. I'm
Yeah,
good.
no, I'm totally fine.
Yeah,
that was
that
another
kind
one
of that's kind
convincing.
of just the classic cliche. Of
Yeah, it's
superhero
fine.
movies.
You got to suspend your
Yeah.
disbelief. But then we get the funeral scene. We get the awesome shot of it panning through, shows every single one of them.
Everybody, dude.
All in
The only one that you
suits.
don't see is Gamora.
Which,
who-
what the F? What? Why?
Because
It was
she
weird.
left. Because we see in a scene after that she probably just left.
Well, we
after
didn't
it
though.
killed
We
Thanos.
didn't see in a scene after, which
Well,
was
we
weird.
did. It shows Quill looking at it. It says searching. It shows.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't
Quill
show her
searching.
leave. That's what I'm saying. Is like the Gamora conclusion to Endgame was one of those things I was a little.
It was a
confused
little
about.
weak.
It was a little weird because, like, yeah, she's not at the funeral. We don't see her, which was super weird. We don't see a conclusion to
And
her
even
story with
Nebula's
Quill.
at the funeral. Like,
Yeah,
I
which
was
is like-
expecting them to be together.
Yeah, it's like in Nebula.
It might explain
Yeah.
it though. They might have kept it that way because they might explain it in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like maybe she disintegrated when Thanos died.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe when Iron Man did defeat all of Thanos' minions, Gamora is one of Thanos' minions and disintegrated her. Who knows, right? That's actually something I just thought of because that's probably what happened. Honestly.
Yeah, I think it was a little weird that she just wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to have her back. But then, yeah, we see all the Avengers minus Gamora, and then we go to kind of the wrap-up stories for every character. We see Thor pass off the throne essentially to Valkyrie. Valkyrie's going to be like the new Queen of Asgard, essentially.
The
Well,
new
Thor's
Asgard.
kind of just hanging out with the.
Well,
When
Thor is a
becomes
drunkard who goes to the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is awesome.
Which is gonna be so. If Thor is in it, I hope they do that. I hope Thor's in the Guardians. of the
They've set it
Galaxy.
up perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
It'd be so perfect.
And
Well,
it will get so many views too.
and
It'd
not
be-
to mention,
oh, it'd be
imagine
so good.
if Zoe Saldana, Gamora, isn't really in Guardians that
We
much.
need a big.
We
second
need another
character.
big character. So
Because
maybe
Gamora was technically the second.
Oh, she was
role,
the second.
support role,
She was
yeah.
the second lead essentially
Yeah.
to Chris Pratt. So
Definitely.
they kind of need another big person. And who better than Chris Hemsworth? My gosh.
Oh yeah.
This is and I really hope that Chris Hemsworth kind
Maybe
of
they'll
just
have the Hulk
becomes.
too. Like the Hulk
Yeah.
comes in, that'd be cool.
I think it would be great just to have Chris Hemsworth Thor be kind of like this character who just shows up in the random movie. Like he's just like, hey guys, I'm here. Like,
Remember,
he's
in-
just kind of like a party guy.
He's in
now.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he's in
It's
Doctor
like Zac
Strange.
Efron in that one party movie where he's like,
Neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of showing up and just
"What
being
up,
like-
guys?"
Yeah, I think that'd be hilarious. Just like
Yeah.
it shows up in Doctor Strange and all these movies.
But then we kind of get passings of the torch a lot in the
Yeah.
ending because we kind of show.
We haven't even got to the biggest one. It's Captain America,
Oh right, yeah.
obviously.
So yeah, we get Thor giving it to what's her name, Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of show all the heroes and what happens to them, except for like a big one, which is Captain Marvel. We have
which
no
was
clue.
Really weird.
Which
Yeah.
I don't like because Captain Marvel's supposed to be set up as the main lead for the next Avengers.
I mean, kind of. Yeah.
she's kind of gonna be the Iron Man of the
Falcon.
or
second.
Doctor Strange,
which is
Doc-
kind of
Doctor
strange
Strange's
because
probably big
Black
as well.
Panther too. Like, there's a lot.
She's
It's-
kind of just not really used a lot, which is strange. So she
Last
kinda
time we
just
see her is at the
disappeared.
funeral. Like
Yeah.
she's just sitting there. But then we do
It
get
shows everybody like looking at
we
the
do
fireworks.
get Ant-Man and Wasp and their
Being together
and
with
his
the
kid.
daughter.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
I think they're actually like finally together.
yeah, which is good.
And then it shows a Black Panther with his mom and his sister in their kingdom.
Yeah, Wakanda looks like it's
Wakanda,
good.
which is fine,
or something like that.
which is not surprising.
totally great, which is good. I mean, they need it for the sequel.
Yeah,
Who else did they show?
it's everybody, but so quick.
Yeah, I think let's just get to the next one, which is Captain America. That's the biggest one.
So yeah, then it shows. It cuts to a scene where it shows Hulk, Falcon, Bucky, and Captain America.
Uh-huh.
And-
Cap is supposed to return the
All the
stones
Infinity Stones.
back to their time.
And it's supposed to only be 10 seconds for them.
Yeah,
Hulk.
so was that their goal? What was he planning to do? Like, because he had all the stones at once, and they were only
So
going to
remember,
send
10
once.
seconds is like an hour for him.
Well, yeah, but like, what I'm confused about is like, did he just take all the stones? Because he still had all the stones. Did he just go and like, I have this case, I'm tossing it in the ocean?
No,
Like,
so
what did he do?
he can jump before he gets taken back. Remember, there's the little like tunnels, so he probably just went from each one.
Oh well, yeah, I'm
quickly.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't even end up coming back, so he had all the time in the world.
Yeah, he did.
I'm confused why. Or I'm confused as to where are the stones still out there? Are they going to come back?
Well,
Because-
he delivered them back
there. He put them all
Yeah,
back.
he delivered
Yeah.
them back to their original spot.
Which is kind of like, I kind of wish they destroyed them. I kind of wish it was a finite
that's what I brought
conclusion
up.
to the Infinity Stones saga. Because otherwise it's
Can't
like...
do that. They got to be able to bring it back in 10 years.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They're going to just do the Infinity Saga again 20 years from now. But Cap goes back in time, and I think that was a great moment where he's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and no Cap. You know, and I was like... I knew something was going to happen. I knew he wasn't going to come back for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I loved the way they handled it, and we get to see Bucky and Falcon go look over at the bench, and there's old Cap sitting there, Steve Rogers himself, and I wonder. I was trying to figure out if it was Chris Evans in prosthetics or not. I couldn't tell.
I think it also probably some CGI.
I don't know if it was him. I honestly think it might have just been some old guy they cast because
Chris Evans' actual grandpa.
I don't know. I could kind of see
I could too.
kinda
A resemblance.
see a resemblance, but it wasn't close. Like,
yeah, I'm curious to look it up once it's kind of out there because part of me thought it was him and part of me didn't. If I had to go out on a limb, I'd say it wasn't.
Which
him.
I will say something strange about the whole scene was Bucky kind of
just
being
sat there.
When Bucky being like, "Go ahead,"
Yeah, that was weird.
to Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, Bucky, this is your best friend. Like,
Yeah.
Captain America risked his life for you so many times. You're just gonna be like, "Oh, go ahead."
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
was
gonna
one
say
of
anything.
those like coincidence moments where it's like, okay, whatever.
Whatever,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, and
I'm glad he chose Falcon.
Me too. Thank goodness, because I'm really happy that
we
Falcon.
haven't got to
will
see a lot of
potentially
Falcon either.
Yeah,
Like we seen in Civil War. But
Which now we will because we're getting Bucky and Falcon,
yeah. Well, and essentially, it looks like Falcon's gonna be the next Captain America. You know,
which is gonna be sick.
so that's really cool. If I think he's a great pick for the next Captain America too. Like he seems like he can kind of embody that character, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Falcon kind of taking the shield from old Cap. We get this great moment where he notices Cap has a ring on his finger,
and we don't also notice. We don't know what happens to Hulk. Because Hulk sees old Captain America, and he kind of just sits there.
His just kind of wraps up right there.
It doesn't really go anywhere.
But then, we see the ring, and Anthony Mackie's like, oh, something you want to tell me about? Or her story?
He's like,
just
"No."
like, no. And I love that. And then he's just like, it just transitions, and it's playing like this somber song, and we get to see Cap in a house back in like the 50s or whatever. Or 50s, probably more like...
70s.
No, like 30s, I think. Like 30s, 40s.
Well, no, because remember when they go back to the 70s.
I think it was 30s.
I think it's 30s, 40s, because it's during World War II.
But there's no way it was 30s, 40s.
Why not?
Yeah, he's right.
Because when they go back to the
70s.
when they go back to the 70s to get the Tesseract, remember he sees her. And she's
Yeah,
like
but she's
young.
older then.
But she's probably like
No,
barely
she
older.
definitely had like prosthetics to show she was older than she was in the original Captain America. Because if you remember,
But not
the
super old.
Well, not super old, yeah, because it's only the 70s.
There's no way like a 40-year difference.
Well, if it's like the
70s to
late
30s.
40s, no, if you go from like late 40s to early 70s, you're looking at 20 years. You know, if she was 20,
She maybe
if
looked
she was
like 5
If she was
years,
like
10 years
25 in the 40s, she's only 45. That's mom's age. You know, in the 70s, that's not a huge difference. Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. He goes back, and he's in that time period with her.
Right.
And it's great, and we get to see them dancing in the house. And this was super emotional. I love this moment, and it's the perfect send-off for Cap for me. And then we get credits.
We get a mention to, it shows Clint and Scarlet Witch standing by the river.
yeah, that's right.
And Clint is like, I wish I could just tell her that she won. And this is the first mention we get of Vision all movie.
Yeah.
The entire movie they have not mentioned Vision whatsoever, which I am surprised they didn't mention Vision.
We did get the awesome moment. One of my favorite parts of the movie where Scarlet Witch takes on Thanos.
Oh yeah,
which I thought was awesome. And she says to him like, "You took everything from me," and he's like, "I don't even know you." And then she's like,
"You will."
That
was
awesome.
so dope.
That was really cool. And then she rises from the ground. Her eyes
those
turn red.
big,
the
huge
big
things.
boulders.
She like smashes him.
That was a great
That was
moment.
way sick.
And once again, this movie made me like care about Scarlet Witch even more. Like.
Well, and so like I was saying, it's the first mention we get of Vision, which is surprising for me because in the predictions I talk about how I was hoping maybe they saved Jarvis.
He'd come back. So that's another death that is official.
It's official because remember we thought as they gathered enough information that they could at
they
least
could
keep
salvage him
Jarvis or
somehow.
something. But no, we didn't get any sort of
Vision,
resolution.
he's
Vision's
toast.
not dead. So we get the first mention, not even his name. She just says like they both do, like they both remember, and we know who she's talking about.
Yeah.
And then we show Clint kind of with his family, and he's. I think
that's right. There's Clint's story. He's happy.
He's off on his own, which he's done. I think he's done.
Maybe
they could potentially call him back.
I think he'll be one of those characters that kind of shows up whenever he wants.
Kind of like how Iron Man was with like Amazing Spider-Man and not Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Far From Home, and like kind of just like, coming in and stuff. So,
but then we get the credits, and it's the very first credits without an end credit scene.
Not one.
Pretty big deal. This
was crazy.
10 years of MCU movies, I don't think any of them have ever not had at least one. Yeah. So that kind of shows that they're wrapping up this saga. I kind of liked it that way. We mentioned it on our predictions episode that it kind of sucks that Far From Home is still technically Phase 3. Yeah. But like this is, tell you what, this is a great ending to this.
And I'll tell you, we forgot one. Is it shows Spider-Man back at school.
Oh yeah, with Ned. Right? Is that his name?
For some reason, that actually got me emotional because he was like, they were like crying, hugging and stuff,
and I think his name's Ned.
I didn't like it that they're just going back to school now. Yeah, everyone's back and they're going back to school.
I was thinking the same thing. I was
they do have to get back.
But it's been how long? Like a month?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. For all we know, that could be.
But it's the first time he's seeing Ned, so we know that it's got to be at least.
Well, it got to be soon because you'd think he'd want to call his best friend.
Yeah. So it's got to be soon. So they were like, everybody's back. Let's go to school.
Yeah, it's school time again.
Yeah, so
it's like F you.
Even though half the Earth is destroyed and like in post-apocalyptic, like the freaking Met Stadium is all destroyed.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah,
that's another thing going forward that's going to be interesting so that 5-year period is forever going to be a part of history as like this apocalyptic time that actually people lived through.
Well, and I will say that another one we didn't get to see is what happens to Doctor Strange, where he goes after the funeral. Mm-hmm. We don't know if he goes and tries to mend the the place that they.
Doctor Strange didn't get enough screen time as I wanted him to.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I
wanted him a little more in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot to. Freaking Ant-Man.
Most of the loved
in the whole fight. Like,
and how he got big,
and he just comes charging and like destroys.
I will mention this kind of sucks. Something they forgot is editing error, which is Ant-Man and Wasp. Go to the van, and he's like, I gotta hotwire it, and he's hotwiring it. In the next scene, it shows Ant-Man big, like messing with a giant bug.
Really?
And then it cuts to them back in the van, which it's not him as the main shot, but you can see him in the background fighting a big bug. Which I'm surprised but it's something so small.
Yeah, that's the thing is in editing that sequence, I can only imagine. Holy frick! There's so much you have to keep straight. Like who is where in this scene because there's so many people. I bet you there's probably a few little instances like that. Anyway, though, do you guys have closing thoughts on Avengers Endgame? I
just think, like I said, the best parts for me, and the reason why I thought it was the most comedic and my favorite, is because Hulk and Thor for me was such a big part of the movie that it made it so much better.
I wanted to get back to this.
With Hulk and Thor, the way they were and the way they changed their characters so much, Thor and Hulk were the ones that grew the most, in my opinion, that we knew more about in this movie than ever.
You have to see Thor Ragnarok because they're both in that.
Well, I mean, also just showing Thor's character arc of not being so godlike.
Well, that starts with Ragnarok.
Oh, okay,
I think.
Okay. Yeah. And so the comedy. There's so many scenes where Hulk's doing these weird faces where to Captain America, or Ant-Man's taco goes flying and then he pulls out two tiny tacos and he hands to him.
Yeah, that was good too. And speaking of which, there was a couple moments, I'm not going to lie, one of the emotional moments when Clint falls on his knees after they're back from the time travel thing, and they're like, is everyone okay? Showing everyone sad about it. They start zooming in on Hulk's face, and I honestly had to try not to laugh, because I was just it's the Hulk, crying.
And he's like,
I'm like, this is kind of funny looking.
Yeah.
But I was going to bring this up, so with the Hulk comedic thing, I actually think Infinity War has more comedic moments, mostly because the start of this movie is very, very dire. That's one thing that surprised me is
very
how
depressing too.
How and there's funny moments, don't get me wrong, like Tony Stark and Nebula on the ship playing flick football. Yeah. But then there's a lot of the beginning of the movie is pretty dark, and you're kind of just.
We get a Russo brother cameo.
Yeah, we talked about that. But just kind of bleak and darker, and then there's definitely comedic elements, but Infinity War overall I think is more consistent with the comedy and balancing the comedy and action, while this one I think is the comedy and action really kicks into gear toward the end, versus at the beginning it's very much more, I mean, not necessarily that, the action kicks into gear at the end and the comedy kind of kicks into gear midway through.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you guys this question. what would you guys say you like better now though? Infinity War or Endgame?
Well, and like I was saying, this one for me, I think just the conclusion is very satisfying. Like all the conclusions of all the characters and the way they ended everything, it's just so satisfying to watch. Like there was so little about this movie that I didn't like. You know, there was like those tiny things, those tiny errors or whatever, things with Captain Marvel and stuff. But otherwise, like I loved it. Like oh my gosh,
For
like, I
me,
wanna see it again.
with these movies, I look at them kind of like in one movie.
Combined, I know.
Like,
Yeah,
really, it's hard
I
to like
agree.
separate them because without Infinity War, nothing happens here.
Exactly.
It's kind of you know what I mean. So it's like this is one 6-hour movie, 5.5-hour movie.
Yeah, I agree. And originally this was supposed to be...
I would say probably I liked this one more. I enjoyed watching it more. Like it was more of an event.
Yeah.
Than Infinity War was.
They were both such events though. Like that's the thing is like
they were. Yeah.
I'm with you that they totally just kind of blend. You know, and it's interesting because they were originally going to be Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2. They changed it like halfway through production, I think, because they didn't want people to think that it was like a Mockingjay situation or Harry Potter, because people kind of complain about the whole Part 1, Part 2 movie scheme, but it totally is. Like at the end of the day, it's like, even though you changed the title to Endgame, which I'm glad they did, it's Infinity War Part 2.
Instead of Infinity War Part 2.
Yeah, it's like this was Infinity War Part 2 for all intents and purposes, you know? Like, if you haven't seen Infinity War Part 1 or Infinity War,
originally,
this is going to be a very confusing movie.
Originally, they had changed the title to Annihilation, didn't they?
Why are they trying to save
Wasn't
all
it
these people?
Avengers
What
Annihilation?
happened?
I think you're thinking of something else. Yeah, no.
But it was the Avengers Infinity War Part 2, and then they changed it.
Yeah, originally it was Infinity War Part 2, and then
Which I was wondering why they got the name Endgame from, but Infinity War Doctor Strange says
Says
he says
Endgame,
like
yeah.
we're in the Endgame
now.
Did you guys watch that this morning, by the way?
Yeah, we watched it before.
I wish I would have watched it before. I didn't need to. I thought I was gonna need to, but I remembered everything.
Yeah.
Like once we got into it, I was like,
it was nice to watch it again, though. I liked watching them back to back as like this epic saga like story, because
I like too, because about a couple of days ago I was watching like all the videos on YouTube about like theories and what people think is gonna happen, and there was a lot that nobody knew was gonna happen. Like not even once people mentioned something. Like there was
the Black Widow death, I think, is the biggest one.
Nobody mentioned that, dude. Nobody like thought that, which is awesome. So
would you guys say that this is your guys' number one then?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
I would say the same, and it's kind of unfair
Well,
though.
I don't know.
It's like
it's
of course it is.
It's so close though. Like it's barely above Infinity War, because Infinity War is awesome.
Yeah, but like Casey was saying, I kind of combine them together.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
agree,
Infinity War and Endgame are the number one spot for me, because
It's kind of like saying you like Harry Potter's Deathly Hallows Part 2 better than Part 1.
yeah, it's like they kind of combine.
They're the same.
Yeah,
You can't
they're the same story. They bleed into together, and that's one thing that I was gonna say, that if we're recommending this movie, I will say that if you haven't seen the MCU movies, or at least Infinity War, this movie's probably not going to be that great for you, honestly, because you're not going to
be
You're
confused.
not going to know what the heck's going on.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to care about any of these characters.
This is for the people that have been watching for the past 10, 12 years.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
definitely a fan movie.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Because I was going to bring that up. It's like, man, if I had to recommend this to somebody who didn't like the MCU, I'd be like,
I would not.
Don't watch this movie.
Don't watch this. You will not like it.
You will not like it. It'll
If
be.
you want to, you can watch the 48 hours of
movies
content
before
prior.
this.
There you
and then
go.
watch it.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you pick and choose some of them, like you have to at least watch some. Like maybe watch like the first of all the
All the
movies.
Avengers.
Because like even
All
for
the
me,
Avengers.
like even like not watching Thor Ragnarok, there's not much that I know. There's some big things like his eye and shiz. And
Yeah, there's
his
nothing
haircut,
big,
but
though.
otherwise, then yeah, I like. There's not much I missed.
Just other than like his hammer's gone and like
Which
Yeah,
most of that
and he's fat.
most of that's in
like-
the most of that's in the trailer though. I mean, it shows his hammer broke and then eye patch and then hair. So it's like, yeah, I do still want to watch it though, like really badly. So I'll probably watch.
So
it soon.
what's your final ratings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too. Actually,
So we'll start. Tanner, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
We'll go 1 out of 10.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is our first like movie review on the channel.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll go ahead and just say, for me, I'm going to say a 9.5, because for me, it was an amazing movie. It could have been a 10 out of 10. The only reason it's not is specifically because of Captain Marvel. And it's not because I have nothing against Captain Marvel, but I didn't like the way things panned out with the character. Where she was gone, and then she was kind of just a MacGuffin. I think it was just kind of weird. It would almost been better if she wasn't in it all entirely. But yeah.
See, for me, it's hard because, like, rating a movie like this, my scale differs from movie to movie and for different types of movies. Like
Right.
for something like this, I really do think it's unfair
put it
because
up there,
because like personally it's a 10 out of 10 in
Yeah.
terms of like what I wanted from an
enjoyment and stuff.
from an
Oh, yeah.
MCU movie, like what I want and like what I'm expecting from these movies.
Like there was nothing that disappointed.
Like yeah, I loved it from start to finish, you know. But in terms of if I'm rating this for someone else, like if I was saying recommending it to someone, I would not give it that high of a score because I'd be like, I'd have to take into account if you haven't seen any other movie, you're not gonna like this one. As a standalone movie, this movie's horrible.
But you could say the same thing
You
about
know?
Infinity War as well.
Exactly, it's the same thing for Infinity. It's for all the Avengers,
And I think any sequel in general, because like even like Star Wars, like trying to jump into the Star.
If you jumped into Episode 9 without having
you'd be
seen
like,
the
what
other
the
two,
fuck is going on?
get a lower grade from
Oh,
you
yeah.
for that reason. But for personally, it's like it's 10 out of 10 Marvel. You know, this is
the
what
best Marvel movie made.
Yeah, it's what the MCU
They
climax
built
is.
up to this for a reason. Like it's the reason it's the blast ending one.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to mention is we talked about it a little bit is I will say that the story at the end of the day is Disneyfied a little, and we don't get like the classic thing that some people did want where all the characters that died actually died. They all come back, of course. Like we kind of figured that was going to happen, but you know, at the end of the day, we get Iron Man's death, we get Black Widow's death, but it's not like this, like Hasten was mentioning, it's a happy ending. It's for the most part, you know, like we get their happy conclusions. So I think that's fine though for this type of movie. I've come to like accept the idea that it's like these movies are just different than other ones. I have to rate them on a different kind of scale because they're superhero movies and they're crowd pleaser movies at the end of the day. Like,
you can't compare it to something like The Artist or
or even like something that has more of a artistic
style
to it because this movie is a crowd
Ghost, like you were mentioning,
a ghost story or something like that. Exactly, like,
compared to this. Like,
they're
both great movies for different reasons.
Exactly, it's like somebody who loves Infinity War or Endgame, I wouldn't be like, you need to check out a ghost story. It's a 10 out of 10 too. It's like, no, they're totally different kinds of movie, but they're still 10 out of 10.
Definitely. And in my opinion, like Marvel movies are unlike anything else. Like
they're event
because you could say like, oh, you love action movies, you're gonna love Marvel movies because that's not true. Like Marvel movies are their own thing at this point. Like they're everything combined into one.
And they're event popcorn movies. Like that is the definition of them. Yeah. Like there's no better movie theater experience than you're gonna find with an MCU movie or a Star Wars movie. You know, like those two in theaters, nothing's gonna beat it. Yeah, or just like the hype surrounding it. Like, this literally was, an event 10 years in the making?
Like, I had to contain myself all day today from freaking out. Like, this morning I woke up and I realized I'm like, freaking Endgame tonight.
Yeah, I was nervous about it.
Yeah, I mean, all of school, like, school was so long, I was literally sitting there like, come on, dude, like, Endgame. And, like, it like you said, it's an event. It's almost like a Christmas kind of, like, holiday. Especially now with the way they use it, where it's like every year we get like 2 and they're big deals, especially like there's one that's bigger than the other, especially with the Avengers themselves movies, not just Marvel in general, but the Avengers movies are huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd rival it on with Star Wars, like you said.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anyway.
What were you gonna
so for me it's a 10 out of 10. The thing is, when I look back at this movie as I'm rating it, I'm like, there wasn't a minute in this movie where I was like, "Gosh, come on, let's hurry this up." Or I'm bored.
It went so. I was
excited the entire movie. I was happy all movie long.
Oh yeah.
And you know that's kind of what I look for. I'm not.
It held your attention.
Critic is like some of these other guys are. You know what I mean? I had a fun time in the theater.
Well, and it did not feel like 3 hours.
No, it did not.
Not at all.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
it was a long movie. I could tell it was long, but. It definitely, it went fast because I was enjoying it so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things, too, where it's like, I can understand why some people would be like, oh, they did, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, they did what we expected, right? All the people that died were died. It's like, there was unexpected moments in this that no one saw coming, like Black Widow's death. Ultimately, it's like big picture stuff. It's like, yeah, of course Black Panther didn't actually die.
Well, and of course the hero succeeded. Of course Thanos didn't actually wipe out half the universe.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's like, the expectations
Of course,
that
they
were
cut
there.
Thanos' head off right at the beginning.
That was crazy. See,
yeah, that's what he means
that's
about
unexpected moments.
But
That was an
big
unexpected
picture-wise,
moment.
yeah.
Big picture wise, end of the story. It's like it wraps up
That's
nicely
one
with
thing
the bow
that's
on
very
top,
different
you know?
from Infinity War. Imagine if they ended the series with Infinity War. It would have been a lot different, right? It wouldn't be
Oh
what
my
people
gosh,
expected, where he kills half the universe and then it's over.
It's like, all right, that's it.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely
It's not that kind of series. That's the thing.
and it's hard to be. I mean, you. I'd even say the same thing about Star Wars. This isn't talking about Star Wars.
No,
but
I was gonna compare it to that.
Star Wars Episode 9. We know how it's gonna end.
No, I actually.
I
The bad guys.
don't.
Yeah, I actually.
What I mean is the bad guys aren't gonna win. They're not gonna kill everybody.
See, I
in the
actually
universe and then
disagree
rule the
only
world.
because I was going to compare it to The Last Jedi in the sense that The Last Jedi is the opposite of this movie in terms of doing fan expectation stuff. And what I think is, I think Marvel is smart, and they were like, we have to have some unexpected moments, but the whole movie can't be like this crazy thing that isn't what fans want, because look at The Last Jedi. Yeah. They did that, and then half the people didn't like it, and half the people liked it.
Well, and all I meant was like, with these big movies, you kind of know that in the end it's gonna end good, right? Especially with Disney, especially with like these big time movies, Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, Lord of the Rings. Any of these movies, you kind of know that at the end of the day, the good guys are gonna win.
Well, of course,
they're not gonna end the movie with the bad guy winning. So, like, you're not gonna be like surprised.
Or end the
by
series at least. They can end the movie like Infinity War with the bad guy
right.
winning.
But with the end of the
series
series, you're not gonna
end
be surprised like, that guy won. Like, there might be unexpected moments, like you said, but ultimately, big picture, I think it's gonna satisfy you no matter what.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
And I definitely don't think anybody's pissed that they killed Iron Man. I think people could be upset, but I think ultimately the collective is kind of, it's good. I mean, I doubt
it's a good adjustment. It's a good change. Like, we do need new blood and new mix-ups for this universe.
And I doubt he would have been in any others if they didn't kill him anyway. He might have appeared every once in a while.
Yeah, he would have been like how he was in Homecoming.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing a thing where he said he was kind of done with Iron Man because he wanted to do other things.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is Robert Downey Jr. hasn't been able to do crap, dude, for 10 years because he's been Iron Man. I mean, which is cool.
He's had the script and the contract for Sherlock Holmes 3.
Sherlock Holmes 3
for years.
Sherlock Holmes 3, I think, was greenlit years ago. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that project has been in his backworks forever and still hasn't come to fruition because
he's been so
Iron Man's been
busy.
eating up his role, which makes sense. Like, I'm glad he was. Like, this is one of those legacy roles. In fact, in the credits,
with the way they ended.
we were talking about it in the credits. Like, when his name came up, the last one, you know, right before it said Endgame, like, everyone started cheering. It was like this huge honor moment.
Oh, and especially like his funeral alone with the callback to Iron Man 1 with Tony has a star.
The proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
I love that. I mean, and it shows really that the Russo brothers really care about this universe. Where they end it with how they started it with Iron Man. Iron Man was the beginning of this series. He started the universe. Without Iron Man movie, who knows what would have happened?
I like how when he dies, the light just shuts off in his chest.
Yeah,
it's like,
that was cool.
And everyone was like, like everyone knew he was dead.
Yeah, I think the Russo brothers have proven they really understand the MCU and what they know how to build one of these movies and like appease the fans and stuff like that.
I'd say there's almost no one better to raise a universe than them.
That's what I'm wondering. Is
like you even look at Star Wars and they've had multiple different directors to where some stuff has been kind of.
I'm just interested to see like going forward, like if there's going to be another Avengers movie, I wonder if they're going to have the Russo brothers in on it or if they're going to want to do their own thing now. Like they've been doing this for 5 years now. They started with Winter Soldier in 2014 and then did Civil War, Infinity War, and now this. It's like I wonder if they want to break from Marvel or if are they going to have to bring in some like new blood to
That's what I was going to ask you guys actually is do you think that now Marvel movies might decline a little bit?
Yeah,
I mean, the Infinity Saga's done. We have some of the main characters gone. Captain America, Iron Man. Like,
it is a viable question.
Do you think that the next Avengers movie will even be close to this?
Can it even be?
Can it? Like, will it be possible?
Like, even if they had, I don't know. I mean, they could, I guess, but I just can't imagine raising the stakes much more than this.
Then Iron Man, Captain America, Thanos, and everybody getting together. Like, imagine the next Avengers poster. It's Doctor Strange and Galactus and Black Panther. It's like, it's not.
Well, and this story is literally the fate of the universe.
You've only had one movie setting up these characters. You know what I mean? You've had 10 years to build up for these. Imagine if they do 10 more years for build up for Black Panther and Strange and Captain Marvel and.
It's just interesting because I'm like, this storyline was literally the fate of the universe, right? Going forward, it's like What's
can't just
what's
do that again.
What's Galactus' motivation gonna be? That's
fate of the
different than
universe
Thanos.
again?
It's like I'm gonna destroy the universe. It's like
I'm going to destroy 75% of the population.
yeah, it's like this.
No,
I'm gonna destroy all of
he
it.
literally destroys all of it.
But that's the thing.
He's an eater of
He's the eater of universes.
And that's the thing,
Yeah.
though, is like I feel like they're gonna have to.
Galactic.
They're
He's
gonna have
bigger
to
than
mix it
he's
up.
bigger than like a universe.
I just think they're gonna have to mix that up though, because it's like
Well, if I don't correct,
It sounds
me
too
if I'm wrong, I'm
similar.
pretty sure Galactus is like God.
Oh yeah,
In a way, he's the god of the Marvel universe. Like he's pretty much God himself. Like he created the universe.
I don't know about that, but
Like a god, like a specific like.
well, I mean, Thor's a god.
But like
so
I mean,
it's
like the Celestials, because there's the Celestials who created the Infinity Stones, but I'm pretty sure Galactus is like the god of them.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But
We could probably talk about this on a
yeah,
future
that's what I was
episode.
gonna say. Is like we'll do a future episode where we talk about what we think will be going forward with the MCU
Definitely.
because there's so many possibilities they can go for. But I think that's it. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts for Endgame?
Like I said, I will say this morning something that hit me a lot was this is almost a moment in history.
Oh, yeah.
Something that we're living in. This movie alone
Dude.
is something so special.
The MCU in general, really, I think it's going to be one of those things that people look back on 30, 40 years from now and be like, they're going to look back on them the way we look back on like the Star Wars movies from the 70s, you know.
Be
and
like,
it's
imagine
that
if we
was
were there.
such an event, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
that was so crazy that was a thing. There's going to be kids that are watching these 40 years from now and being like, oh my gosh, like, I wonder if it'll still be a thing.
I know,
It's
and
gonna be
that,
crazy.
what boggles my mind is like, I don't even know when do we think we'll get another movie like this?
Yeah.
It'll be
December.
Yeah.
years.
Good point, December.
But
yeah.
I mean, like even
That's
Star
so
Wars,
bad.
like something as big as these franchises, right? Think about it. After Star Wars, like we're having these big sagas come
This
to an
monster
end.
thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you
and
going somewhere? I mean, you're gonna have Godzilla vs King Kong.
yeah, and that's a good point because, and once
A
again,
lot of
this
these
could be
companies
another
are
topic.
doing this,
but-
starting this thing.
When entertainment's just so huge now. And
Well, I was
it's
gonna
so big.
I was gonna bring this up. Think about it.
Just
Like
grows.
these franchises grow and sometimes come out of nowhere. If you think about it, Iron Man started in 2008. Like this came out of nowhere essentially in 2008 and built this crazy big universe. Who knows? Something could come out next year
Well, like,
that
even-
sets up this huge thing. You know?
My girlfriend mentioned when we were watching the beginning of the movie, she was like, "Movies have come so far. Like, look how different they are. They're more than just a thing you watch in your pastime. They've become like something more than that, like an actual art form and this huge.
Well, movies have always
event
been an
and-
art form,
but like
but
this
yeah.
big, huge. It's more than just a movie. It's like
Well, it's a cultural phenomenon.
yeah, it's this huge thing. I mean, like, no movie is. I wouldn't say no movie, but it's hard for movies to grip you to where a whole day, a whole week, you're dedicated and excited and like,
More than that
oh my
even.
gosh, and like it's like it's coming out, and we're counting down the hours last night, and like it's crazy. I mean, I don't think I was ever prepared. Like I couldn't ever prepare myself for this movie, and that's what excites me to watch it again. And
We
again.
prepared ourselves by watching Infinity War and not drinking anything, so we didn't have to.
So you didn't have to pee. There you go. But,
Anyway, I think that wraps up everything, right?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Social media, you guys can follow us at Super Bros Videos on Twitter, at Super Basement Bros on Instagram. Leave a comment and let us know what you think of the MCU finale, not MCU finale, but the Phase 1 or
These 3, 4.
Infinity Saga finale,
Yeah,
I guess,
sorry,
the first 10 years of the MCU's finale with Endgame.
let us know what you guys thought about.
Let us know what you thought about the movie in general, and how hard, on a scale of 1 to 10, did you cry when Iron Man died?
Yeah.
Let us know. I for a second it sounded like I was gonna say something else. Like, how hard did you get when Iron Man died? Just so hard. 10 out of 10. Let us know what you give us your reviews and thoughts in the comments. Please subscribe to us and follow on Google Play Music, iTunes, Apple Podcasts,
Wherever
Spotify.
you listen to podcasts.
We're on all your favorite podcast services now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So please give us a like and all that stuff. We'd really appreciate it.
And if you guys would like to see an episode where we talk about the future of Marvel and where we think it's gonna go, let us know. We'll probably
do an
do
episode
it no
2 of
matter
it.
what.
We actually already have done one of that. But we could be doing another one.
The future of Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where do we think the Marvel universe will go after this? And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, who knows? Now and.
We are so desperate that we are now singing randomly.
And like we said, go
It's an
watch
inside
our
joke, sorry.
go watch our predictions video and see what we got right, see what we got wrong, and
Yeah. Well, we thank you guys. Have a super fantastic hero day.
A marvelous
day.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.